in my life. Right now, I got to go to the. It's not that deep, by the way.
So I was like, whoa.
Yeah, no.
We're closing out the show here.
No. I got to head. I got to take the old vehicle up to the approved mechanic there. And that's essentially what I got going on for the afternoon.
I like that, Joseph. I like that. Myself, I've been trying to sell the car. So there's like this thing in Ontario, the province that we live, that you, for people who are selling the car privately, they got to get like a or what's it called again?
What was it called? The,
you know what I'm talking about?
Seller's
package.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it gives like the liens on the car, if there's been any damage, all comes from the ministry. I know you guys have Carfax. We have Carfax too. But this is like one step beyond that. So now the guy that I'm holding the deposit from, and I've been holding it for a few weeks now, he wants that. Now he's back from vacation, and he wants to move on with the deal. Hopefully we can get the deal done so that we can roll up in a SIBE, but we'll have to wait and see. Exactly.
You're ready. Are you ready?
I just got to get the car sold. And
and then you're going to start.
Funny enough, I went on the inventories for Tesla to see what Cybertrucks they had. I don't know if the website was glitching or what, Joseph, but it said they had no inventory, which to me doesn't ring true at all.
That doesn't make any.
Right,
what's the most upgraded Cybertruck called again?
The Cyber Beast.
The Cyber Beast.
I'm not going to get that.
Why?
Too expensive.
Oh, is it?
It's $175.
Oh, okay. I thought you were that guy.
Joseph, I need an explanation, and we didn't build it today. We're gonna send it to you in a second, Katina, but I need an explanation as to why the lease payment on a 48-month lease, not with zero down, $7,500 down for the American, but it's over $2,200 Canadian for a lease, bro. And in the States, you put $7,500 down, it's $750 a month for the base.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, man. Elon, why do you hate Canada, Elon? Like, we gave you a home here. You got to learn here. You came from South Africa. You lived here. You used public assistance money to kind of get your full, and you're going to poop on Canada like this?
Yeah. That's why you got to buy the cars cash.
Hey, I'm not buying that car cash. Are you kidding me?
Straight cash, homie. Yeah.
You don't want to buy that car cash.
No, I bought my car.
So I bought my car financed.
Yeah.
Right? And when you have to sell the car, if it's not a big mover, it's going to have a heavy rear end, and you don't want that heavy rear end, right? So you want to be able to get rid of the car. All right.
All my BMs.
4 minutes, Joseph. 4 minutes. Count the time, baby.
Big cash, homie.
Big kahunas, that way. See everybody at green screen.
Welcome back, everybody. So the first thing that just came to my mind was, does Joe know where straight cash, homie, comes from?
Where?
Take the off the defense. Randy Moss.
Randy Moss.
Come on, man. Straight cash.
I said he wouldn't know.
I genuinely didn't know.
You said I wouldn't know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Crazy.
I know. I don't know
how much you're into football.
Yeah.
It's just, you're younger.
Take the ball deep, take the top off the defense, baby. Come on.
I mean, Randy Moss.
Cash, homie.
He's probably him and Terrell Owens. I mean, there's going to be other great wide receivers.
Yeah. Rice, Moss. To me, it goes Rice, Moss.
Rice is just a petit peu.
But he was so productive, man.
Oh, yes. Well, Joe Montana.
Oh, I was telling you, I got the most random. I'm not a big hockey fan. I got the most random video suggested to me over the weekend that was really interesting to watch because I'd never done any kind of a deep dive, people like to say. Right. It was like it was an analysis in the history of when Patrick Waugh essentially quit on the Montreal Canadiens in the middle of a game. Like, he got pulled from the game and then went to the GM and said, "I've played my last game." And I didn't know a lot of the backstory behind it. Like,
on that note, this is my last episode.
No, what's crazy, what I didn't know is that what I didn't know about that is, like, the best goalie in the world, essentially mid-game, getting blown out and quitting on, saying, "I'm never playing in for this team." But the coach, he used to room with the coach.
There was something with the general
and
manager.
They had beef. Like, when they were, when they played with the actual head coach, they had beef. So when the guy was the head coach, he didn't like him to begin with. And so when he left him in, there was already animosity. I'm just like, now it makes a heck of a lot more sense. Why? But Randy, these guys have been talking about Cybertruck. Well, I mean, mostly Sharif. Sean's already got a Tesla. He's taking advantage of the charging. So when are you?
When charging as we speak.
Oh, is it full?
I think it must be. Yeah.
When are you going to take advantage of yourself?
This guy wants a Porsche. Well, by the way, I got a dentist appointment at 4 p.m.
It's Porsche.
It's kind of random.
There's an E on the end.
I know what it is.
We need to have a commercial break for our lovely Blue Jays, who are on one hell of a roll right now. 9 in a row, boys.
I'm impressed.
Wait a minute. Commercial break. Are this a paid-for commercial break? Or?
No, the Jays are sponsored.
They're selling out too every. sellout.
Jays are
No.
kicking
Yes, it was 40,000.
some butt right now.
That's a sellout.
Is it now?
Yeah, the configuration's way different.
okay.
40,000 is now a sellout. It used to be 50 something.
Springer's on fire. It was just,
Must be a contract year.
It's actually no, he's got one more.
One more. Yeah.
I think he's got one more.
Yeah. What a team to
mean
watch.
everything all right?
Swept the Yankees. Swept the Angels. It's
How they do.
It's yeah. Here we go.
They got to keep the momentum though.
Chicago should be easy. They're a baseball
White Sox
dweller.
suck.
Yeah, they're just.
Yeah, we should blow them out.
I'm just
but
kidding. What's up, Chicago? Love you.
Cubs are White Sox
A little
though.
late there.
It's all about the Cubbies.
No, I said that this morning. I was like, now we're going to face the White Sox, who I think have one of the worst records.
I think the Rockies.
The Rockies
Rockies
are.
have the worst.
The Rockies are
the Rockies
putrid.
the
Rockies are
National League.
underground, I think.
They're
But
National
we should have a good time in Chicago. But these Jays are just, yeah, good
You've
stuff.
been to Wrigley?
No.
Gotta go. To
Nope.
Wrigley.
Nope, not been to Wrigley.
I've never been to
Fenway.
I've never been to Fenway.
Been to Fenway.
But like what everyone says about like Fenway and Wrigley, it's, I don't know. If you've been to one, like I've been to Wrigley, it is
Been to
absolutely
both Yankee
unbelievable.
stadiums.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway, go Jays, go.
Yes, go Jays. Smell that coffee all
Wondering
of
what
a
that
sudden.
smell was. All right. Yeah, no, the coffee's.
It smells
very, very
delicious,
good.
by the way. I try not to have afternoon coffees, but sometimes that aroma.
What, Sean? What's your heat mean? Did I maybe misunderstood? I don't know. Were we talking about heat?
Am I in the wrong chat?
Probably. I have no idea.
I think this is the right one.
Coffee's nice and hot, though. All right, so we're getting ready to rock and roll. Oh, by the way, I did find I was opening up a old. This is the this one has the Trader TV on. All right, not much happening in the market. We did see a move happen down there around 12:30, as you mentioned. It was 25% tariff, I guess, announcement on
Japan and
UK,
South Korea.
South Korea, close enough. Shout out
And
to Squid Game.
Yeah. It's okay.
Can't believe Neil ruined Squid Game for everybody.
I didn't ruin it for I didn't ruin it for anybody.
Epic. Oh, what's this hat? This is a this is the minor league team. Myrtle Beach was a single A Cubs franchise. So
What do they have?
shout out to the Cubs. Oh, that's why I'm throwing heat on the White Sox.
Well, because it's all about. I mean, the Cubs are.
But you know what? I want to say thank you to the White Sox. We had Frank Thomas here for a couple years as a Blue Jay.
The big hurt.
The big
Hurt.
unit. The big unit.
The unit
Randy
is
Johnson.
Randy Johnson,
Randy Johnson.
which that
All
guy
right.
is ridiculous.
But speaking of big hurts, if we don't go over there, he's going to pull one on us.
Exactly.
So let's go over to the Sharif man over at the green screen. And it's your rundown.
Nice haircut.
I can't see the screen, by the way. Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys are locked and loaded, and Neil's back, and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you, but the only way to get those tickers up there is to join Joseph and I on the midday show and get into that chat. Super easy to vote now, guys. You throw in that $sign followed by the 3, 4, or 5-letter ticker. Automatically registers. Shout out to Fabian. Let's have a look at the 4 major averages. All 4 guys in negative territory, with the Russell 2000 leading the way to the downside, down to the tune of 1.4%. The triple Qs down about 0.71. The ES a little bit more, down 0.8. And the Dow down about a little over 1%. So all 4 in negative territory right now. Wolf Speed, WOLF, the #1 ticker as decided by you guys. And what a day it's been for Wolf Speed. 258 right now off the highs, up 120% on the day. They're trading higher after they appointed Greg Van Issum as the CFO, and that was enough for a 120% move, boys.
Van Issum? Van Issum sounds, I don't know, Issum, I don't know what it is.
Wolf.
Hungry like a wolf, hungry like the wolf, I should say. Sorry.
I mean, you traded that earlier, didn't you?
Oh, I didn't. I ended up in Mullen. I didn't end up in. Sharif did get into this one. I never did. But it just goes to show. You can talk bankruptcy, you can be on the brink of it, but it doesn't necessarily mean the stock is dead. Now, we've said this before. Ultimately, buyer beware here, because if you chase a move like this, you could end up with shares that are worth next to nothing. That's just part of the game. But right now, you're getting that dead cat bounce, that squeeze play on Wolf up 120%. This happens. We saw it happen with Bed Bath & Beyond and a few other names in the last few years. That's just always the first one that comes to mind. You make the bottom, You get some kind of a news story catalyst that catches the bid. Maybe some value comes out of it. That's certainly not impossible. But congratulations to anyone that managed to catch this. It's a bit of a, like, it's a day two play. It's no question, like, day two continuation play off of that bottom after the bankruptcy announcement. So if it doesn't gap up tomorrow, I'd be thinking short, but that's a tomorrow thing. For now, it's been long and strong. You also have to consider the other point about a stock like this. Like, it's when a stock looks like this and shorts just keep winning and winning and winning, once they announce bankruptcy, it's like you get to the point where the long-term shorts in this are just like, okay, unwinding is going to happen. We've gotten what we've wanted, and some of that is what starts moves like this, and then it can kind of cascade in new shorts like, oh, it should be going to zero. They'll jump in a little bit and get beaten up today. But I don't know how long this is going to last, so enjoy it while I can.
Yeah, look, I think that's a good talk there about tomorrow play, because right now Wolf Speed, you know, they got that clearance there. And I mean, we went from 26 cents, whatever that bottom was there, all the way to 250. So you're up 10x right now. I think it's a little not the wisest decision to start to go long up here, but I think pullbacks, are in play, right? I mean, you're going to get days where we do pull back and then continue to go. But I mean, look at the trajectory of this thing, $46 all the way down to zero, now up to 250 again. I mean, it doesn't really get super exciting until we break through 470, but what an exciting day it is today, up 120%. I mean, good name, good stock. Wolf Speed just continues to work. It's above the 50-period moving average. Definitely a technical issue here, low float. There it goes. Complete opposite of this next name that is trading, obviously, on macro issues here, and that's going to be Tesla. So let's go find out the story, and then I'll talk about how we traded it.
Bang on, Sean. Yeah, Tesla bleeding and continues to bleed here below 7%, a little bit off the lows. It got to about 5% and change, but down it goes again. And really, there's only one reason. Elon Musk taking to X on the weekend, announcing that he's launched a new third party, the American Party, hopes to get about 2 Senate seats, boys, in the next midterms, as well as maybe 8 to 12 House seats. Donald Trump not taking too kindly with that, saying Elon Musk's going off the rails.
It is.
I mean, from one man off the rails to another man off the rails. I mean, I don't really know. You know, it's kind of like when you go to your doctor or something like that, and then you start diagnosing them. I feel like right here with that relationship, I don't even know what's going on with that. We have Ramin did this pretty nice, and she just showed it to me briefly, but some nice short there on YouTube there about their Love Island relationship. But look, at the end of the day, it's down 7%, right? We came in here today with it being the #1 trade idea, and I traded it accordingly. We just, someone sent me a message. Yeah, no, right into here. Just Tesla going short there. Didn't get the 304, or we wanted the 294 breakdown, or the pre-market break. So we were always looking short on this name here today, and that's what wound up happening. We actually wind up getting those 94s after all. So that's exactly what we wrote down, and then that printed us all the way down to 89. That's $5, almost in a straight line down. Then we reloaded the short at the 200 period. I wasn't sure we wanted it, so we panicked and got out of that pretty quick. But then that wound up making money. We still haven't broken. So I'm still short Tesla right now. I'm not short in the account because you see no positions on. But I would still look short there. And I just think all this banter back and forth. I mean, look, we've seen it before. The stocks moved on that news, then back in, then back up when we thought everything was fine, and now back down when it's clearly not. So I would just let it settle down. And I think it might take a couple months before these two, come back together again and see eye to eye in a few things. Look, the future is EVs, and Tesla's the winner right now. So I still like the stock. I like the robo-taxi stuff. We just delivered that Model Y right to that guy's front door there. So I still think there's lots going on for Tesla, but it does suck when you don't have the president on your side. And for right now, Tesla is, unfortunately suffering the downfall of that.
Yeah, if the story is about automation and robotics and all the cool stuff, then Tesla stock works. And if it's about other stuff, then it's going down. And it looks like it wants 270. I said 280 this morning, which... and I was rightfully corrected because I was pointing at where this bottomed out last time we failed 260 and it pulled back like $80 and it bounced right off at essentially the 270-ish level, this support in here. So I think that's where it can be headed. Ultimately, does this end up having legs is what you should be concerned about. if this goes quietly away in a couple of weeks, then we could find ourselves with a good buying opportunity. I almost wouldn't mind if this got back down to about that. If we got to 220 and I saw nothing of this turning into anything real, I'd be a buyer of Tesla at that level again. It's just until this one settles down, give it a couple of days. Let's see if 270 can hold. But Tesla gets in the penalty box when this happens. And you know, I would put it in. I'd put it in there. And the other thing to consider is a lot of times when we get kind of negative headlines over there on Tesla, and not that this is a perfect correlation. This is not like a hide your money in when Tesla goes down. It's just, it's not a coincidence. So the market's weak, Uber breaking some fresh highs in here. That's been a good sort of rotational play that you're able to make there to keep money in one. You can own both, and then one goes down, one goes up. So you're like ho hum. But yeah, Tesla penalty box for a little minute here.
Again, no real catalyst for this one. Like, it didn't really have a catalyst last week as well, but the week prior, recall that they had launched a lot of their software into some of these U.S. airports, O'Hare, as well as some in New York. And that is the 1 hour, the 30-minute chart there on Big Bear to give you an idea of the recent trend, guys. Above $7. In fact, up 7 3/4, down 5 cents on the day, though. What is your look on Big Bear AI?
Look, I feel completely blessed to have found this name and been able to trade it for you, not only live on the show, but also hopefully make a difference in your swing accounts. I mean, we've talked about Big Bear AI. I put the stamp on this down here. You know, we liked it at 5, we liked it at 4, we liked it at 3. We still like it. We've been getting some out at these levels. I thought $8 was pretty much going to be the maximum, and it seems like we're getting to that level now. So I feel a little fool's goldish here, like not getting out of it all and then regrouping when it does come back down. But then you can't hold out for those huge winners right now. Whether or not we think it's going up here to 10, this is its 52-week high at 1036 or so, up there 1050 basically right on. I have on eSignal 1036, so it must have been dark pool print up there or something. But at the end of the day, Big Bear AI continues to be one of those AI names. We talked about SoundHound, that's AI, C3 AI, Big Bear AI. They're working. Datadog just got accepted into the S&P 500. So with a 35% short float, I really like this name. I had to cancel my 8 bid there, but I still think a breakthrough 8 makes a lot of sense for Big Bear AI. And I would just hold on to this, man. I mean, considering this run up, it's not doing this, whooshing down. It's actually now had 3 days in a row where we've kind of held up here north of 750. So I think it's a good little hold there. You know, you're a couple downgrades away or an offering or something like that. Remember, they're not making money. So if something happens and it gets back down into $5.50, $6, so be it. I think it's worth buying some more. But for me on Big Bear AI, just keep playing the momentum north side. You got to have some players in your account that can make a difference. And right now, you know, you could sit in Microsoft all year. You're probably not going to get 100%. You just got, I mean, that'd be nice if you did. This just got right there 100% in a week and a half. So you got to be careful with some of these runners. But, you know, if you don't trade them and you don't hold them and they're not sitting in your account, then you don't have them. So I would say congratulations to everybody with Big Bear AI. I was getting out of a little bit this last week, and I still like the stock, and I still think there's more room to go. I especially like the fact that we're not even getting down. Every time we drip a little bit, we're being bought up, right? And so that's been a good look for Big Bear. And for right now, it looks like it wants to hold $7. I think if you're long an irresponsible amount of money and it matters to you, then you know you might want to watch out for a $7 break. But hey, we like the stock, and it's been real good for a minute. We do have a throwback over to Sharif, according to Andre.
Yeah, I'm just going to let you guys know I'm at the desk here, not at the screen. Donald Trump posting on True Social on reciprocal tariffs. There's many different ones here. 40% on Myanmar, 30% on South Africa, 25% on Malaysia, 25% on Kazakhstan, as well as 30% on, I mentioned South Africa. So this is coming in right now, guys. So Donald Trump taking the True Social to basically announce the reciprocal tariffs that are going to be imposed, on these countries. Breaking story will bring you more as we get along.
All right, so what's your favorite taco?
I'm classic.
Because this feels like a taco trade.
I'm classic. I'm a classic. But I do like fish tacos, but that's more of a that's a switch it up kind of a thing. I'm a classic beef taco, and it's got to be spicy salsa. Always got to be spicy salsa. Fish. I don't want that bland stuff. I like a little bit of heat. That's how I roll. But that
ground beef.
and BBA analysis brought to you by VinFast. Big news out of Vietnam.
Yeah, I know.
VinFast has just opened its second EV factory. Built in under 7 months, the 360,000 square meter plant will produce up to 200,000 vehicles a year. It'll focus on compact EVs like the VF3 Mini SUV and the Minio Green, designed for transport services. With automation from ABB, Siemens, and others, this marks a major step as VinFast pushes to double its deliveries by 2025. Scan the QR code if you want to see a little bit more about their journey. Beauty-looking vehicle. I saw one a couple of weeks ago on the road. Definitely. Shout out to VinFast there. Let's go see what's going on in Chipland, though. Probably not going to react too well to this tariff stuff, even if it's a bunch of places that maybe don't matter as much.
Definitely not, Neil. Yeah, AMD selling off quite aggressively to the tune of 2 2/3. Many reasons for that. Some of the tariff-related news that we just brought you. Part of the reason, as well as the earlier announced tariffs on Korea and Japan. But it was really this headline: Bloomberg reporting that the U.S. was looking to restrict shipments of advanced AI chips to both Thailand and Malaysia out of fear that they were finding their way into the hands, guys, of Chinese customers, breaching the export restriction ban imposed by the U.S.
What else is new? They've been finding ways around the export bans forever, and you close one loophole, and usually money finds a way. And ultimately, I don't know. I tend to think that what's going on here is I know you want to find a way to keep advanced chips out of the hands of China, but at the same time, you don't want to swing it too far, where you motivate too much innovation on their side that they don't need you anymore. Like, there's a happy medium if you're trying to win that battle that I think it's going to be an interesting one to see if they can continue. I think the way it was working before, it kind of was working out for them. Let them not have the most latest and then stay a little bit behind the game. But the second you force innovation because there's no other way to go, I think you run into a little bit of trouble. Chip names, look, I traded CORZ today, not AMD. But the chip names are all very weak today. Some have taken it hard, like AMD, which does seem like it's headed back to that 200-period moving average. You got the run. Great. The stock was a double. Like, the stock essentially doubled from the April lows. So a healthy pullback to 125 both makes sense to a nerd mathematically, but it just technically also looks like we're headed. What was surprising to me when I was looking over the chip names was to see that ARM actually got hit the hardest in the group, down 6%. Likewise, I think headed to the 50-period moving average. Again, more than a double from the April lows, so some of it is going to make some sense. But certainly the chips are on a pullback. You can maybe single out NVIDIA to a certain extent, but it doesn't seem like they're healthy in the short term. I think in this particular case, in AMD's, you can head back to that 200-period moving average. Makes a heck of a lot of sense as things.
So anyways, all of those tariffs were actually good news, not bad news. The market shouldn't have gone down. Those are all improvements. Like, Malaysia goes from 28 to 25. I just heard it in my ear. They were updating some of the different tariffs, and they're actually all getting better, not worse, right now. So that's kind of interesting to hear some of that talk right now, but the market is still downside. Look, I want to address that. I did get into the Qs real small. I'm thinking about getting out of it because, like I just said, that's not a negative story there that was just released. It's better. It's better for South Korea. It's better for Myanmar. It's better for Kazakhstan and better for Malaysia. So the odds are actually better. What's up there? We were at the gym today. We always had this written down as an idea for us today, AMD. So we actually had that right there, 138 short. So yeah, man, we were all over AMD. And we really like that trade. It looks like it's going to continue to work out for us right there on that short. Despite all of this talk there about the tariffs and whatnot, AMD had a nice move and then now down. And now once everybody realizes that this tariff news is not that bad, we expect to move back up. I'd say you just continue to short AMD. I was going to say go long on NVIDIA, short on AMD. That was the idea that we had earlier today. And it looks like NVIDIA is giving you some nice long areas as well at 156, 157. We'll digest all this news. I don't know you know, who makes their chips in Malaysia, who makes their chips here or there. But so far, so good on that tariff talk. It looks like President Trump giving a break to some of those countries there that he just released some tariffs to. So I think that's a good story moving forward. Hopefully that, you know, the rate can be better for, like I said, UK, Japan, and all that as well. The 40% tariff on Laos as well. Very, very key. All right, let's go back over and talk Weeble.
Hey guys, Weeble, the last on the list here, down prohibitively, 12.5%. On the back of this headline, they announced a $1 billion standby agreement on Thursday after the market closed, essentially giving them access to capital, about $1 billion to be used for general corporate purposes. It does give the acquiring, the hedge fund Yorkville, I believe, the right to buy about $1 billion worth of Weeble stock, but at a 2.5% discount from the current market, guys. So Weeble down 12 1/3.
Yeah, we're just saying we bear today, unfortunately. But you know what? What goes up must come down. You got to remember where, like overall, what the stock has been doing and what the company is trying to pull off. And it's to call it a crowded space is somewhat true to a certain extent. But this was a dead cat bounce off of this $10 level, right? Like I bought it in my swing account when it got down there the first time because when it was at 60, 70, maybe it wasn't the first day at 70, certainly at least on the second day when it was in the 50s and 60s, I was saying, yeah, I won't touch this thing until it gets back down and takes a shot at $10. So I think you're still in the first or second inning here of a potential upward move for Weeble. I don't like the fact, in a general sense, that you're holding the 50-period moving average. Candidly, if I hadn't been off last week, I might have considered, if I wasn't camping, I don't know, if I think I might have seen 15, I might have taken something off. But that's, you know, I wasn't even looking and I had no clue until I came back that the move had happened. But as long as you hold the 10, I still think you're pretty constructive here. Offerings are usually not going to be received well in a general sense, but the opening range bottom was bought up at $12. So that low did hold. Can it hold the rest of the day? Can it hold the rest of the week? I think you give it a couple of days to settle down after the offering. You don't want to overreact to the first move with news like this. And for that point, I give you IonQ this morning. To anyone that bought that one up on theirs, essentially got rinsed. So yeah, I don't want to overreact here on Weeble. Overall, the space is still working. I'd just like to see it hold that $12 level. Because I think long-term, the growth story is still.
All right. People want to know if those were jorts. I'm confirming they're jorts. So they're jorts. We love jorts around here. The Canadian tuxedo, we talked about that, where you wear the jean top and the jorts and or the. So
I'm a bad Canadian because I've never done.
Randy and Sharif.
Do you own jorts?
No, I do not own jorts. No.
Do you own a jean jacket?
Well, my wife does. Jean jackets I think are pretty hot, actually.
No, jorts I knew before I asked you.
Yeah. But I mean, I used to own jorts.
Back in the day.
Anymore.
Yeah, so I'm saying like when we were kids.
I'm not as fashionable as the rest of these guys.
I got
all my money just goes to my kids and my wife. I wear the same shit every day.
I have like the same shirt that we rotate like.
Yeah. And the only reason I have a new hat, where'd Sharif go?
Oh, he's just dancing.
Oh yeah, he's dancing. He's a dancing queen. But no, the only reason I got a new hat is my brother got me this hat.
Nice.
Shout out to my brother. There as well. But, all right. Yeah, my wife buys, pretty much. She doesn't buy all the clothes. I mean, we just don't really buy too much clothes, really, recently. I don't know, have to maybe get going on that. All right, so I should have reloaded into the short there on the Qs. But unfortunately, with all this news coming through right now, so it's tariffs on Laos, Myanmar, South Africa, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, right there. You don't need to know the numbers; they're really irrelevant. But at the end of the day, that's not what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the big ones. So we'll wait to hear if and when. And again, all these have been extended to August 1st anyways. So who really cares what the tariffs are? I'm actually over all of that stuff. I'm more watching out for the market. I would like some more dip buy opportunities in this market, quite frankly, because I do feel like there's more room to go upside. I think earnings are going to prove to be great. I think the market is just a matter of getting ready to run even further than where we are right now. So, what's up, Playboy?
What up, Playboy?
Right now, as that's starting to get a ride up here for some sort of reason there. Playboy, boom, boom, boom. Getting aroused here, Playboy. Let's go over and find out if there's a story here or what Adara's got for us.
I can look into Playboy. I just wanted to mention here, I did a comparison between the Trump poster boards that were released on Liberation Day, April 2nd, as well as these new tariff rates. And so there's an odd mix of things that are going to be above the previous rate and below the previous rate. Now, as previously alluded to, there are slight tariff decreases here for that would be Myanmar and Laos. They're both at 40%. Previously, they were around 44 to 48%. So it's not a significant decrease. But then you've got countries like Japan and Japan, where you actually have an increase here of 1% tariff. So from 24 to 25, that's going to be the same here for Malaysia. So it's really mixed here in terms of the countries that have increases in tariffs and decreases. Now, I want to mention as well, Caroline Levitt did say that 14 total countries would be getting tariff letters. Right now, it looks like we're about half. Continue to keep your eyes open. I certainly will be refreshing this Truth Social account to keep you guys posted. I'll look into Playboy too.
Yeah, just Playboy with a bit of a spike to the high of the day. I actually was looking at the volume. It was only a couple 100,000 shares on Playboy. So whether there's a story there or not, it doesn't seem to be going too crazy. But it's a big volume spike when you look at it like this. 270,000 shares on the session for Playboy. I think you got to be.
Maybe Michael Noss bought some shares.
Well, if you're looking at, you always stick to your lane. I feel like he's going to be all. But if you're buying,
I always say because someone in the chat.
You're buying
Fartcoin. Yeah,
I'm saying if you're buying Fartcoin and what was he, a Penguin something?
You lose credibility if you're buying Fartcoin. I was like, why is Michael buying Fartcoin? But I know he just goes on the charts. But no, he said today he's buying Fartcoin.
Oh, I thought.
What you said?
Oh, instead of the Penguin. What Penguin something?
Pengu.
Pudgy Penguin. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But look, at the end of the day, momentum is momentum. I think
it's basing it on charts.
Yeah, like if you're just trading them, like I stay away from all of the meme coin. It's just never been my thing. I wrap my head firmly around Bitcoin, which is fine. I think that works. What I'm concerned about right now is this market is on the precipice. Like you just broke the lows. I'll get to Apple in a second because obviously, I mean, Apple's already been having a rough day. And if you look at the middle of the day when there was the tariff announcement or when you got South Korea and Japan, everything took a bit of a dive. Apple took a big one, but Amazon has now once, twice, thrice held on to this bottom at 222. So it's one of the relatively stronger stocks. I know it's down 0.4%, but the overall market, the Nasdaq's down 1.1. Amazon it probably is the strongest of the Mag 7. I haven't looked at Microsoft or anything. But if we lose the bid here on Amazon, not going to be looking very, very good for this market holding the lows. But if there's a long to be had in the Mag 7 off this bottom, I think it's Amazon, and you're taking the shot off the 222 level. Adara?
I just wanted to address Playboy. I looked into this, less than 300,000 shares traded on the day. Now, this spike is certainly significant compared to the volume we've done all day because, as I said, about 300,000 shares under that on the day. But this one, I guess, spike there coming in with 100,000 shares. There's been no social media attention in the last 2 hours and only a 3% short float. So PLBY looking to be not super significant as of right now. I just looked into that for you guys. Back to you.
50. Okay, so thanks, Adara, for that. Yeah, we'll continue to look at all of that stuff. Just because of all of this, futures are underneath right now, so any kind of a bump up, I think we want to be short until we break this 50-period moving average. So I'm just going to continue to sort of layer into the short here, which is 82.50 on the TQs, otherwise known as 22,850 or so on the Nasdaq. Okay, so if you're looking at that 22,850 on the Nasdaq, so 82.50 right there. I'm actually going to put in the stop order because we don't have any stops up there. 82.61 or so first. I don't ever stop off at the exact spot, although it's not an exact science. We don't stop out every time we come up to some of these lines. But I was actually going to give it up to 83. But I just think that's too big of a hit. We've already started the trade down there, and all we really took there was we were short 82 where we are right now, and the best outs we got were 80s. So we only made 20 cents on the top part. We're going on a date night tonight. It's Summerlicious. So you get to go to all these different bars and places. We're going to this brewery tonight.
What's the name?
So you can get a classic smash burger for $25. You get to choose an appetizer. There's a hummus one, something called Corny Hugs, which is golden fried mashed potato balls stuffed with mozzarella, cheddar, and sweet corn, served with jalapeno crema and fresh arugula salad with bacon bits, or you can get a hummus thing, some sprout thing, some fried chicken tendies, summer bowl, smash burger. For dessert, listen to this, hot brownie served with caramel sauce, whipped cream, or confectioneer sugar.
The second one.
Yeah, pretzel sundae. I think I'm going to go with this. Vanilla ice cream with sweet pretzel sauce and pretzel crumble.
Easy. That's easy.
Yeah,
that's easy. I looked at the last one.
It's not hard. And then the last one was strawberry sorbet.
There's always got to be something which is like, easy.
When the kids aren't home. Right there, we're getting excited. And then tomorrow going out for a super fancy one, so that should be a lot of fun on that. And then that's it. So we'll be watching out for that. But here comes the TQs. I'm going to get some short here at 30 where we sort of topped out at, right there on the Nasdaq. If that can come in, then that's that. Yeah, the smash burgers, I'm not, when I make them on the barbecue, I try to smash them a little bit, but I know they're completely different styles. But anyways, that was that.
I'm not a huge fan. That's not.
The kids are up at camp. I was going to look. It was raining.
Which camp? We were at coding camp this week. Well,
yeah, no.
My daughter's at a coding camp.
This is a sleepaway camp.
Ooh.
That's what I'm saying. Once the kids.
But sleepaway camp is like the movie. You know the movie? So it's like an, I don't know, like maybe late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah,
and it's one of those absolutely
like terrifying,
god-awful, terrible horror films that's so bad that it's good.
Oh, okay.
And like I think
to check the weather.
I know I watched it years and years ago, but Sleepaway Camp, it's also really weird. Like it's kind of messed up. But if you've never seen Sleepaway Camp, enjoy that. As far as horror movies go, I have to admit, I was really impressed to see that Michael B. Jordan movie.
Right.
Sinner.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
That's very cool because I was watching. I'm like, wow, to be able to pull off the exact same movie that I don't know, maybe you already saw with George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino and Salma Hayek, and just put it in a different setting.
Dusk Till Dawn.
It's basically
it
very much copies Dusk Till Dawn. It's supremely well done, incredibly enjoyable watch.
Oh, really?
But I'm like, this is ridiculously similar in terms of story. But that's not really spoiling anything because it's a vampire going into it. But it's very well done.
Wait,
Sinners.
what?
By the way, I know everyone's looking at that wolf. Hungry like the volume is really tapering off on this. And I just want to make one point, and this is not to crap on Mullen, but like look at the chart of Wolf. I'm not saying it's going to go back down, right? But for anybody that doesn't like 100% when they get it, or you could be up like 200-300% because this is under $1 before. Like on Thursday, I think it broke the $1 level. So you could be up significantly more than that. Remember, they could be going, bankruptcy still in play. You never really know how these things are going to work out, so I'd be a little bit cautious with this. I am still in Mullen, but there's a distinct difference between stocks like TerraWolf or Wolfspeed, and stocks like Mullen, which the stocks that do the reverse split garbage and fall to zero, reverse split garbage and go to zero, those are like perma shorts. Like stocks like Wolf, every now and then you'll get stocks like Wolf that will break out and actually sustain something for a little bit. But these, like you don't want to be in this one past a single day of the bounce that it makes. It's just very different stocks like that. But I'm going to go back over to Amazon. The market's trying to bounce. Amazon's not getting that far, but it needs to break this consolidation. You've managed to hold the low. If it's not going to retest the low, I think you need to break the consolidation. The thing that I feel like is a short the pops is not popping, and that's Apple. So I'm kind of looking somewhere else. Like, where is this weakness? NVIDIA is at the volume weighted average price, so that's relatively strong. I don't know if that's something that I want to look to fade into because you're not really getting, you're not getting any action out of Apple off of these lows. NVIDIA still looks like it's the strongest of the bunch, but it's coming right into a resistance spot. Maybe it is this one. Like it's setting up pretty nicely here that if you lose the volume weighted average price, you've got a good, it's very clean, like 158.5 up here, 157.5 is kind of your support level, and it gives you a good risk to reward. And it's at the volume weighted average price overall, the market's also giving you a look of coming back into prior lows. The typical VWAP setup. If it closes under VWAP, give it to the prior high. That's the thing I want to look at here. Because Apple's not really moving, and I thought that was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, and the market's starting to go back up. I mean, we talked about those tariffs as not being, they were initially reported, I thought, almost as a negative, like when this was going down. Sharif, we broke over to him, he ran over the desk and started talking about it, but it turns out that it was absolutely nothing, and if not better, for most of the countries involved. So, yeah, and by the way, like sending these tariff notes and letters, like what's up with that? I don't even understand really what's going on with that. Like, you can have a Zoom call or something. But there it goes. Like, who do you exactly send the note to? Like, attention, Mark Carney, please read this. Like, here is like my proposal to you. Oh, and by the way, I'm just extending all the deadlines anyways. And as soon as you've read this, call me up and we'll negotiate.
Sincerely,
so, like,
President Trump.
Like, I don't really understand everything that's happening right
Do
here.
you put sincerely in something like that, or do you just kind of keep it formal? You try to be nice.
I mean, I think he's just asking AI to write it and just insert country here, and then they'll figure it out after that. But yeah, we'll go over to Adara with potentially more news on this. I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to comment a little bit further on these tariffs. So with regards to them being released as letters on Truth Social, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt actually addressed this earlier today, saying that it's in the matter, I guess, in the interest of transparency. That's what they're doing it now. In terms of who they are addressed to, it literally is just addressed to the leader of the country. They all seem to be form letters. They're all pretty much the exact same letter except for the tariff amounts, and they all end with Donald Trump's signature. Thank you for your attention to this matter, exclamation point. They all end like that. The other thing I want to mention is we could be getting at least 7 more, because Caroline Leavitt did indicate that after the South Korea and Japan letters, which were released around 12:30 p.m., that there would be, I guess, 12 more letters to be released on Truth Social throughout the day, and she told us to keep an eye out for Truth Social. So we've gotten 5 more letters now. That brings the total today to 7. That means we could get another 7 if we are to believe the 14 letters today indication that we got from Caroline Leavitt. She also indicated more letters will be released throughout the week. Back to you.
As long as you don't send me a letter. I don't want to get tariffed.
I do. I want to get tariffed. The thing is like, what's the point of sending letters if you're just going to put on Truth Social?
Well, that's what I don't get.
It doesn't. It's just so stupid. It's ridiculous.
It's
but
just weird.
This is what it is. And the good thing is it's not really affecting the market. Like, the market was already sort of heading down to begin with today, and like you're just getting a downside move. Almost every idea on here, you know, besides we had Amazon long, actually. That was still a very profitable trade. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I was looking short sort of to begin with. We never got above some of these levels. This is what the market was doing as we came in today. We had no economic numbers. We don't have any Fed speak. Elon and sort of Donald sort of kicked it off with some of the negativity over the weekend. And I was watching last night over on Blue Ocean and Moon and all that. Tesla was down 7-8%, and then it continued to go to the downside here today as well as we get lower and lower and lower. For me, I was really excited about tomorrow. Was July 8th, the day before. All these tariffs were supposed to be announced, and then all of a sudden now that is now August 1st. So when August 1st comes around, then what? You know, I really am starting to believe this whole taco trade. Like, I even said that. That's why I asked you about what taco you like. Even as this was being released, it was like, what's up with the tacos? And then here I am now short. So I don't think this is going to be right. We've shorted up right up into there. Now the 50 period's underneath 82.50. So that's right where we are right now. Look, man, it's a 15-cent hit if we get out right now. I'm going to give it a little bit more room just to see if these futures do want to break down. This has been a level right here that we sort of supported throughout the day, and then we lost it on that news. So I wouldn't be surprised if we take it back and we do kind of make that move back up to VWAP. So I'm going to tap out right now if it does break through 60, which is very, very much imminent, and it looks like it's going to happen. So we'll slap the fail on this trade. I mean, I should have just stuck with, you know, the rhetoric that I was saying there, that this was kind of fool's gold. But yeah, the only fool here would be me for putting on this short. So we'll stop out of it. Pretty responsible. We didn't, you know, we got out of the 20 cents right there, then we just averaged it in. And I feel like this is a fine level. You know, you're gonna have to tap out at some spot, and I'm fine doing it right here. So it looks like we'll lose on this short, and the short's just not in right now for the market. It might be in later, but, you know, it's digesting this tariff news quite well. The biggest country that I saw out of all of that would have been Malaysia, obviously, and you could see that tariff actually got lower. So I feel like that's fine. And then the other one, you know, looking at some of that, we can just look at SMH overall to see where, because again, without knowing, I think retail, some of the clothing maybe made in Malaysia.
Well, Lulu's getting.
We can look at Lulu. Yeah, they're more, I think they're more Vietnam.
No,
Yeah, probably Malaysia as well. Same as Nike. I could take my shoes off right now and look. But yeah, SMH, again, retracing all the way back. So yeah, I would say it's maybe not much going on. And then the other name was just because I just mentioned it. Let me just call up Nike real quick here just to see what's going on right there. So they had a great run up over the last little while there. We talked about that last week as we bumped higher there on earnings. And yeah, so not much reaction here today.
Well, I'd say that's good.
Yeah,
Nike's flat on, Lulu's down 4.5%. That's why I was bringing up Lulu.
That was a start problem with somebody in the morning.
Yeah, this was Lulu's been a problem all day long. Can you just go back to Sean's chart for just 1 second? Because juxtapose that. Nike was holding higher and eventually dropped as opposed to Lulu, which has just been falling all day long and can't seem to catch any kind of a bid. And I don't know the exact makeup with Vietnam for sure. I don't know how much on Myanmar is going to matter to them. But this is a name. It still can't get out of its own way. I think on a lot of times when companies are trying to, apparel's hard. Historically, to stay on top, sports apparel, any apparel brand, it's not an easy thing to stay on top for a very long time and to have a sustained run. And ultimately trying to come back when you start to get a little bit of weakness can be difficult. And then even as you're doing it, everyone just remembers the growth that you had before and the stock price might not be able to reflect it well enough. Lulu is basically desperately trying to hold on to the 52-week low that it bounced off of, that August low from last year. It bounced once. We lose that again. The stock just in trouble. It's given you some good dead cat bounces, no questions asked. But right now, those that are betting on the turnaround in this space have been going over to Nike and not Lululemon. Maybe it holds 220, but I think I'd be much more interested in Nike of the two. I just think when looking at the story, okay, go back to square one. So I went into NVIDIA, put my stop at the $0.50 or just a couple of pennies above it, and short, do something that I would normally do regardless if that story came out or not. It came right back in, went to the level that it was at before, and just looked to short that level at VWAP in an afternoon. If it breaks away out, if it doesn't, look for it to head back into the downside. Mike James asking about Meta. Man, been back all day and have not looked at Meta or even talked about Meta once today. Which is nonsense because I should have, while we were away, Meta, like a lot of other things, fresh high and a bit of a pullback. Healthy pullback for Meta the last couple of days. What I like about the reaction today is it's up into a market that's down. It's holding the prior high. So while there would be an opportunity for this to have broken down today, no. Meta holds the consolidation. I think it's got a good chance here, especially with the market trying to rebound and the fact that it never broke any lows, to retest that high in the upcoming days. Love some Meta. Go Zuck.
Yeah, exactly. Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily leveraged ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging, very important, as we will talk soon about the US dollar. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Scan that QR code for more information. We want to thank Global X and their Beta Pro offering. So just make sure you scan that QR code and get everything all about that. Yeah, we talked about, here's the CAD. That's CAD USD. Let me just show you the DXY as we continue to make lows right now on the daily. So there it is. It's a nice bounce up today, actually. You can see it's up 0.5%, but there goes the DXY. What a dramatic move to the downside. And you've seen sort of the rise in gold, sort of the rise in Bitcoin, obviously, as more and more investors look to. Let me just call up maybe a 30-minute chart or so. I don't know. I've never really charted the DXY, as far as looking at it this kind of way to trade it, because it's not a tradable entity here. But you can definitely have a quick look and see that right now we're starting to get back to the upside, trying to break through some of those highs. As there we go, we get stopped out of the futures. Whoa! Wow. So we hit the siren there as the TQs do wind up breaking the top. Fine. bad trade. We got stopped out of that. We talked about that. But the US dollar right now, you see the rise in gold. And I think traders are trying to get away from relying so strongly on the US dollar, which makes some of those, programs and products there that are levered one way a little bit more exciting to get the hedge for CAD or for whatever your currency is, maybe to get away from the USD. But yeah, there goes the DXY. Nice upside play there today. But just trying to break through some of these. We haven't been this high since June 25th. So maybe the dollar is bouncing back a little bit here over the last couple of days. So we'll wait to see as, again, interest rates look to be lowered. I don't know what the odds were. We had 70-something%.
I think we're still looking at
lowering
2 this year.
Yeah, more. I think maybe even more than 2 this year. But yeah, we'll have to wait to see. But the dollar and then GLD, which I actually. With the dollar going up today, gold should be making a little bit of a move down, but there it goes straight up, basically flat here on the day. Gold is kind of sideways for the last little while. We'll see what winds up happening. I mean, obviously this break of 316 would be real nice if you can get that all-time high break one more time up there. The all-time high looks like 322 or so, but I think gold can get going. I mean, I like the spot there. I don't know if I like gold better than Bitcoin, but if you're looking for that big return, Bitcoin might be the one, but that's even falling down today. So, stronger US dollar, a little bit of a retracement there in gold, and a little bit of a retracement there in crypto. So we'll wait to see if gold holds the 50-period moving average. But the DXY, repatriating the US dollar back for some of the tech companies. That's obviously what they have to do. Most of their expenses are going to be in US. All their HR, their operating costs are over here. So a stronger US dollar would be better for bringing that back over, but then it does require their products a little bit more expensive. So
it's good for
there is push and pulls there.
Good for Walmart.
Stronger US dollar or weaker US dollar?
Oh, well, the strength that you see today. I mean, when you zoom the chart, depends on the time frame you look at. If you zoom the chart out enough, you still kind of look like you're in a little bit of a pullback. But the today where you're seeing that strength you're mentioning, that's good for Walmart, which that's headed toward a potential breakout. And sometimes you'll see a stock do this, and it's like, it's doing it at a random level. No, this is it's $100 on Walmart, and it's just hanging out here. Yeah, they're going to be competing with Amazon and trying to outclass them on their prime day, but overall they can both work and they can both win, and they will both win. That's how it is. It may be a little bit expensive in terms of where you're getting them in a historical PE, but the 100 level on Amazon, it just feels like this breakout is looming, and like another stock that is just yearning to get to its highs in this particular case. I think that one can get there for sure. But I wanted to the thing about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is boringly awesome right now because it's not breaking out the high, but I love the fact that this consolidation is not even thinking about retesting that low 90,000 level. Like, we bounced off 100K and we're just holding a consolidation at the high. Now, that looks very, very, compared to when we usually fail a top, like up here, it's like right back in testing support, right back in testing support. This one's higher low and gearing up for a breakout. That looks great. Obviously, it needs to break out that top, but I like what I'm seeing here in crypto. Maybe not the best today, and I grant you that. Like, nobody's gonna look at a chart down 1.4% and say, yeah, Bitcoin's having a good day. This is IBIT for you. But when I look at that daily chart, I love the consolidation up at that top, and it's not doing what it usually does when it's bounced off that 110 level, which is fall right back into the low 90s. Holding 100 is a great sign for them. That said, I probably am not. I was looking for the long today down around 60.5 bucks. I just thought if we were weak, we'd be a little bit weaker and catch a bit of a better dip buy. I don't think I touched this one in the afternoon. And just to check back in on the Wolf one, it tried to pick up in volume there. I saw it try to go a little bit of a volume spike, immediately failed $2.50. I don't know that this is going to be an afternoon trade. Maybe you get some kind of a dip where you can bounce off the volume-weighted average price, something a little more extreme. But volume's got to pick up on this one. Or I just feel like there's you don't want to sit there forcing action just because it's up 100% and it is the low the small cap of the day doesn't mean it's going to go ham or go crazy in the afternoon. It doesn't always work that way. There might be something else that pops up on the scanners that I'm not seeing, which is actually captivating the attention. But Wolf might be a bit of a nothing burger as we head into power hour for sure. Ooh, Mark Colossus in there, Marius saying your calls expire mid-August. Yeah, but what calls? I mean, that's great. I'm assuming. What are we talking? 3, 4, 5? I don't know. Your Wolf calls expire mid-August. But I mean, what strike, eh?
My Wolf calls. It depends when you got them. I mean,
I was saying
when. But
we still have a lot of time. It would be interesting just to know what price you're looking at. We day trade looking at the actual equity here pretty much all the time. I know Joe will talk about options, but yeah, some information would be a little bit useful. When I look at the move, though, you're only now, knock on wood, closing the 50. For the consolidation here, holding prior lows. So I'm thinking that you hold on to this move, the next stair step up would be that it could get to 450. But just remember the underlying story here is you could be back down to near zero like that. So, it's the kind of thing that if it reverses, it can be back to the low.
So what was that all about?
You got to give the snap. It's like Thanos. Because you can get cut in half overnight on a stock like this.
Oh, whoa.
No, literally overnight.
Well, look, you doubled overnight.
That's what I'm saying. So that's sort of the idea. A lot of times in that kind of a position, you want to be out without even thinking about trying to get the top. Trying to catch the top of moves on stocks like this, I'm going to hold this to the exact right moment. On these types of stocks is almost impossible to do. Sometimes you have to be willing to look like, oh man, I left a lot on the table. But it's better than getting rugged and it's a penny stock again. That's, I think discretion sometimes in that case is, the better part of valor?
Yes. Good one.
So they say.
Oh, yeah. So
I don't know who said it.
Neither do I. I was going to say, I'm not sure exactly who does, but yeah, so what's up to Love to Trade there in the chat? Yeah, look. So again, look at this market on the way back up. So I'm going to try the short one more time. The TQs is here at the 200 period. Just look how this 200 period has really worked out all day. I mean, it worked great in the morning, great here. Not so great as we got, I guess, those letters. And then now we're coming back down into it again, or up to it again. So we're going to short using VWAP. So that's 83.15. If we break back underneath there, then we're gone. So we're now back into the short here. I started at 83. I actually have another fill coming at 86. That's where I thought. I'm at 88. You know what? It doesn't really matter. I'll take it right here. I'm going to put an offer. There we go. So we take 83s right there, and then now we'll wait to see. So I was going to take another trade near $83 for the TQs. And again, just talking about this, right? Donald Trump has come out here and talked about we can keep. I mean, Adara's over there. So if anything ever hits, yeah, exactly. So she's all over this, watching everything right now. I'm just going through the news feed. So I have the Benzinga Pro right here that just sort of Trump versus Bezos, Tesla, some Chipotle Mexican grill stuff here, DoorDash. Oh, what a move you didn't see, but Datadog got announced into the S&P 500. So D-Dog was...
Yeah, that story I at least...
Yeah, that was straight upside fire.
What's the date?
I don't know. When is the effective date? It's really soon. It almost happens immediately once those things are announced. But Datadog straight up... booming right there, taking out some levels. I would say now that you got that announcement, wait for this gap to fill before you start to buy a little bit. July 9th, yeah, so tomorrow, 2 days. So tomorrow's your last day of trade before Datadog gets added, and it should create a little bit of a bonus upside, but again, we'll trade that maybe tomorrow off the open. There should be an imbalance there, and then possibly again tomorrow night, as we'll wait for the imbalance locator to repopulate, and that will show us tomorrow. Power hour.
Is it power hour?
Good. Yeah, it's now 3 o'clock.
That's what that
That's what it is right there. So watch out now for power hour. Shout out Chef Joe and everybody else. The story today about Tesla, of course, as we'll continue to look at this stock, was nothing this afternoon as it's gone a little to sleep. But when's that letter getting sent to Elon? Maybe it already has. But for right now, Tesla not doing too much, down 7% there as America First. Is it called America First Party? Did we ever find out what it was called?
Or is it just America Party?
Just America Party. I'm voting for America. I mean, it's actually pretty...
Party in the USA.
Makes sense. Oh, wait, some Miley Cyrus back action in there? No, so I was just thinking that's upsetting. Whenever you draw the attention of the president, it's not going to be a good thing, because he always has to win. So right now, we're going to wait to see where the settling down happens here for Tesla. I believe it to be a good long, but not until we retest some of this chaos down here around 230, 240. I'm still in it for the long term. It's not a huge position of mine. I know there's a much bigger position for many of you out there. This whole, tit for tat type of stuff, it's not really, it doesn't bode well for the company in the short term, but again, it could also be giving you great buy opportunities. Like, is 7% down as far as the market cap? This market cap was $600-700 billion. Like, you're losing a lot today on nothing right now Tesla related. We had worse than expected deliveries the other day, and that happened on worse deliveries. Straight up. So I don't know if the stock is trading on fundamentals right now. We had lower deliveries there in Europe. We had lower deliveries across. I think the last number there for the United States was lower. And the EV space right there, especially for getting rid of incentives, which is big, beautiful / ugly bill, depending on which way you're looking at it, treats Tesla in the EV space. We've seen Sunrun for solar. A lot of those names start to go around.
Elon's never been in favor of them.
Well, that's what he's been saying.
So
I think he probably, whether or not he's in favor or not, I feel like that's a political thing. I think it helps the business, right? I mean, if you do get the EV incentives, it helps the business. Like, Sharif would buy a Cybertruck if they was giving 10 grand off.
But here's what I will say.
It's not.
If I'm the only one making money, and I understand the Chinese EVs.
Right. Yeah,
I understand the Chinese EVs make money. But if I'm the only one in the U.S. making money, it doesn't bother me. Like, obviously, it's
Tesla
good short term.
margins are going down.
But the margins are going down. But in a long-term sense, if y'all can't make money and I can, then it's not the end of the world that the incentives go away, because it's going to hurt my competition more than it hurts me. Which ultimately, it's kind of the same reason why Walmart tends to not care when minimum wage goes up. They don't. Like, you're like, well, but wouldn't that hurt Walmart, the biggest employer? Well, yeah. But it hurts their competition more than it hurts them. So in that particular sense, they're like, hey, that's not so bad at the end of the day. I wanted to make one note about that Datadog, because you were mentioning the numbers on it.
Yeah.
So it's the addition is potentially 51 million shares to trade, effective at the close tomorrow, which is a pretty decent sum. That's like $7 billion, something like
Nasdaq.
seven something for Datadog. S&P 500 edition, that'll be pretty big. Another note, so about like Wolf, I also saw in our notes, Wolf is a Russell deletion today. So that could change what I'm looking for at the close on this. It's expected to be deleted from the Russell 2000 index, and it's up 98% today. And Wolf's a New York stock. So when we look at the early look, like we could, like right now, whoops, it was already sorted. Wolf's a sell of 1.4 million shares. Our note says it could be as big as 18 million shares on the sell side. So if I see that start to grow, like Wolf, double check to make sure we have shorts on this, because I didn't pay for them this morning, but I didn't realize it was coming out of the Russell 2000 today. That could be spicy at the close because it's up so much.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even, I got to figure out even what they do. All right, so I was bidding actually here in the futures. Right now, I was bidding 72s. This is the TQ product that I'm using right now. The market is fading out a little bit. Like, love to trade there in the chat. What's up, my guy? You asked me if I was going to get short the TQs again. I was like, I'm actually in the process of doing that. So this is what I'm doing right now. Look at this off the 200 period moving average. I'm bidding 72s. Let's see if we can get back into here, 82.40, 82.50 or so. For this name, something to look at for sure. There it goes. Let's go right now. Spin that for a little bit. Roblox, another name. What a day for Roblox again. Like, this name just up 4%. Like, what a stock right there, Roblox. I mean, my kids watch about all the games on YouTube. They play them. I mean, this stock is working, boy, and working quite nice, just like this futures trade right now. Get another piece out here at 67s if we can. There it goes. It runs through us. So a nice little out there at 67. I'm now waiting at 61s. So here it comes back in. There it goes, man. We'll make this money back. Not yet, but we'll make a little bit of it back so far here on the futures as we waited for the 200 period. And there's the pull back in. Like, I'm not hearing any more stories about anything, but let's go over to Adair and see what she has to say.
This isn't news. I just wanted to make this fun little infographic here. We talked about the comparisons between the rates announced on April 2nd and the rates announced in these July 7th letters. So I thought, what better way to do this than visualize it? So as you can see here, some countries like South Korea and South Africa are getting the exact same tariff rate that were promised here on this poster board. The poster board heard around the world on April 2nd, Liberation Day. Then you got countries like Japan and Malaysia that are getting a slight increase here on the tariffs announced in the letter compared to what was, I guess, initially set out here on Liberation Day. And then we actually have countries like Kazakhstan, Laos, and Myanmar that are going to have lower tariffs now than they were as of Liberation Day. Really interesting mix. And again, according to Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, we're going to be getting 14 letters today on tariffs. We've only seen 7 so far. Again, if you want to take this look at, see a bit of comparison to the new tariff rates versus the old tariff rates, I literally went item by item in the poster boards. You can check this out on X at TTV Research. That's X at TTV Research. Make sure to like and subscribe to the show as we send you back to the guys.
Thank you very much, Adair. There you go. And look, maybe it's not low, it's not better enough. Could be the reaction that you're seeing. At the end of the day, ball don't lie. But I think some of the bigger nations need to.
They're not even like official. These are just like what he's proposing.
That's what I'm saying. Like we don't.
Yeah, it's like so stupid.
Like what the market is waiting for is pen to paper. If that's exactly how it even happens or whatever. You know what I mean. You want deals to be struck. Like, okay, so you've got something with the UK. That's great. What about everybody else? You know, when is there gonna be more? So the market likes certainty. When is there gonna be more certainty? That being said, kind of near all-time highs. So like,
I feel like they're
like I don't
yeah.
my thing is like the whole let's see what happens when all the deals get signed. I don't know that that's going to be better than the rally we've already had. I don't think so. Ultimately, like I don't know. I want to see AI growth.
Yeah.
I want to see Meta make some money, monetizing
see
AI.
that.
No, don't get me wrong. Like, I want to see their numbers. That's what gets me jazzed up, not the deals. I just want to see some big ass numbers next quarter.
You will.
And that's I care more about that than I do pen to paper because we've already gotten back to all-time highs when the world didn't end. I'm not really sure how much more we're going to go. Just by the way, like I'm going to take Wolf because when I saw that it's a delete, and it just went from remember it was 1.5 million to sell. Now it's 4.5 million to sell, and that just happened. So I decided to kind of get in. I'm just going to short it. I'll put a stop above this prior high at about 250. But I want to be sitting in the short of Wolf. And if it continues to grow, look initially for a VWAP bounce play. I don't know if it ends up being a hold to the close type of deal. But the second you see that on the A on the locator, but B in our notes, I forgot that there was a Russell action coming on this because of how strong it was today. And you don't always want to see that. David loved Gangster Neil showing up at work. Well, with the all the way buttoned up polo, I'm keeping it gangster with the polo buttoned up to the top. That's how I roll. Keep it real.
Good one, yeah. Thanks, David, for all of that. Yeah, so you know. This trade's getting pretty gangster right now as the TQ is coming back in right now, 31 cents now in the money and going lower. So here we go again. We should have just waited, but we were trying to short against that. And once it stopped out, right? We got stopped out, but we got back into this one as it's still coming back down to the downside. So yeah, man, so far so good here today. Yeah, no, I was thinking the only tariff that really matters, honestly, is going to be China. All this other stuff is just infographic worthy. There's really no, if the stock market even moves based on Laos, then I got to take a vacation. Like there's not enough here. It's China, it's the US, there's absolutely nothing else. Canada doesn't matter, in my opinion. UK, all of that stuff is not going to matter. Everybody's waiting for that China deal. Sure, the market will move 0.5% here or there. It might even move 1% when some of that announcement's made. But then we're going to see it fade back, right? You need that final tally for China. That's what's going to matter. Everything else basically irrelevant. And we talked about this already, and I don't know, we have to go back and find it, but I was one of the only ones here that was thinking this market gets back to all-time highs this year, and we did it in June. okay? And just to Neil's point, the quarters are going to be monstrous. So if you just get this settled out, these, you know, we're seeing more spend on AI. We're seeing NVIDIA at all-time highs. We're seeing Meta making that move. We saw Microsoft go to all-time highs. The minute China's solved, you're going to have this go back to all-time highs. Like Apple, there's so much right now. There's so much money even on the sidelines that once you get some sort of clarity, and I already think there is clarity. I honestly, we're just waiting for China. And I think that number will get solved and get settled. Then you can go back in there and start to buy some Alibaba and stuff like that. But with the market being where it is, I mean, what else could we even really want right now? And so the minute that China deal is announced, this market will absolutely boom. You're already at these highs. And I just don't see anything really slowing this thing down. We just went through a mini war there where I was literally getting texts from people saying, this is it, man, sell everything. And as that was happening, the market was going to all-time highs. So this is the whole thing, man. I'm not trying to be, maybe I'm just an optimist here, but at the end of the day, the market is what it is. And think about everything that we've gone through and it's at all-time highs. So if we can just get by everything, I think that we can win for a long time. So
I think Europe matters. But the other thing too is think about it also matters what you own. I mean, look,
I'm just talking about the S&P 500.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's trust me, there's always going to be somebody that for whatever reason owns owns like Stellantis or something. You know, and
wow.
It's the same. Like if you're specific to certain places, then yeah, trust me, you're going to care. But I do think a European deal is going to matter because if I look at the bigger picture, and let's look at the announcement today with the BRICS. There's a bigger battle going on that's bigger than tariffs, and it has to do with the U.S. dollar being the reserve currency and keeping as many allies as possible in that realm is huge. And you better believe that is a big part of the deals that are getting made is to ensure U.S. dollar dominance. They're not just talking about tariffs and trade. I guarantee you there is going to be, you better make sure that the USD is a primary and you're going to be buying our treasuries and you're going to be buying stable coins and all that kind of, that's going to be in the back as well. And Europe is a big ally with that in terms of keeping US dollar dominance. So I think that's a huge deal. And overall, it's obviously important to anyone. We're in Canada, but we invest in the US, so because everybody does. And I think that's going to be an important one. That being said, I've seen a bunch of conversation about a stock that we haven't mentioned too much about today, which is weird because when the market wasn't doing much, it was breaking out all-time highs. And I saw, who was it in the chat? You were just there. Oh my goodness, it was Finch Jane in the chat mentioning Palantir. Okay, granted it's not moving right now, but it did double tap the 139 lower high here. Look at the 50 period, look at it hold trend. So pulls back, doesn't actually break the 150. But this is setting up very, very nicely. Made the bounce off of the 50 period essentially at 130. All that's left is zoom it out, break out the 140 area tomorrow, then you can get another test at that high. You always want to see the reaction. What happens when you get like a 10% pullback? Like look at the bottoming tail wicks on this thing. You know, it's like heavy and then bounce. Either sometimes quick, but you're bouncing off the obvious levels on the way back, that 130. I think the 150 level, you got to break 140. That's a this week thing, I think, as long as you continue this like higher, low breakout today story that you've had in Palantir. Just heard that Boeing's getting a bit of a pop. Talk about a stock that is not like Palantir. But it's up 1% today. Boeing breaking out the high. There's still a long way to look. There's a long way to go with the investigations. But as I said before I left, you know, my relatives that are pilots and most pilots have been saying their first suspicion is that it probably was pilot error and might not have been the plane. 52-week high in $1 or so on Boeing. This one could be breaking out. And it got bought up. We just talked about it again with Palantir. On bad news and dips, they bought support at about $200. And then you saw it consolidate, hold, bad news, hold, and then break back out and go back to normal. The reaction to news matters in this particular case as well, as you're about to get a 52 high break this week on Boeing.
Yeah, I think Boeing, another example there of why I believe China is so important. You know, I think that once one's trying to get settled, you'll see them buy a crap ton of said Boeing planes. So that's going to be a big one as well at some point. I did not reload the TQs either, but you know, it's making a move down in there back in. CNBC, Boeing got a CNBC pump, it sounds like. So those guys, I guess they pay to go on there and then pump whatever their stocks are. I don't know if it was Josh Brown or whatever it was.
No, some other guy.
But there you go. That's a good way for CNBC to make a little bit of money. Okay, so I was looking at Amazon there. Not much going on right there. Let's check out Big Bear AI one more time to see what's going on. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to break a little bit higher right now. What time is it? 3:16. Okay, yeah, again, SoundHound, we were on with Steve Teilman. He liked Sound as well as a possible, because, again, thanks, Steve, for coming through. And we were talking about Big Bear AI, and he remembers where he heard it from first, I hope, as well. But Big Bear AI right now making the move. SoundHound, he liked that, so good call on him for SoundHound. And then C3 AI, another AI name, trying to bounce around a little bit here today. So C3 AI, nice move there. Again, well, down, but up over the 50-period moving average, trying to hold out. Today we had new highs for Uber, so there's another name that's been working out quite nicely here. While we have more and more talk, and again, I think there's a few plays that I think benefits the whole Trump-Elon talk, and I think Uber is one of them, as we get ready to see where Uber goes on all of this talk. I mean, less automation, if we can't get the robo-taxis because the licenses are going to be hard enough to come by. Remember, I think all the highways in the United States are federal, so you're going to have to get licensed there to, maybe not all of them, but the interstates anyways. You guys tell me, but you're going to have to get licenses to run on those. And Uber doesn't need... the robo-taxis can just run in the middle of cities. I don't think that matters, but that's another case maybe for Uber. And then plus
that's bigger for transport. I think. Yeah,
transporting across interstate lines.
Yeah, that's the big one. Like because you're not going to get transport to adapt unless you need all the federal approval, because it's not like that local stuff. You can't just go from city to city. Right. That's a big one. That's a big shift for the trucking industry that's incoming, and we'll see. Well, the other way to play AI is just, and we talked about SMR earlier, but we didn't talk about Vistra. That's up today. Into a down market, VST, they're up almost a full %, trying to break out some of those highs. Constellation as well, and GE, Vernova are both. CG's up 2 points today, and it's almost broken out, this 330 again. And then I go over, I look at G Vernova, and this is almost back to breaking out some of those highs.
These
energy.
We talked about that last week.
It makes some sense. What's interesting is how many times do we see a stock trend into an all-time high or a 52-week high, and then the downgrade comes, or conversely, dip into like, I don't know, like some kind of a consolidation low, and that's when you get the analyst action. So we'll see. Like someone's like, oh man, we've got to downgrade these guys because it's getting away from us. The stock's not supposed to move like that, so we need to slow it down a little bit here. But they're strong. I think it's another way that you can be playing energy. Obviously, data centers require a lot of power. A lot of power. You got a lot of competition in the States to even get them. Like states battling with one another and giving all these incentives. Please make yours in my state, and we'll give you all the incentives in the world.
I mean, that's how it works.
I mean, that's just part. It's different. We don't have as much of that here. It does still happen in Canada, but not as much as you get in the U.S.
Our mayor right now is currently in Australia, or she is in. Right now is in Ireland and then heading over to the UK, trying to bring more business for Toronto.
You need it.
We need another CN Tower.
They're on strike.
Are they at the CN Tower?
I left. We're at the game. We're at the Blue Jays game. If you've never been to Toronto, the Toronto Blue Jays play right next to the CN Tower. So we're walking.
Yeah, what the heck?
We're walking towards the stadium. It's gorgeous out, right? And all of a sudden, because usually there's the guy that plays the drums.
Yes.
There's this one dude who he freestyles all the time, and
Yep.
He freestyle raps for money, and he's just sitting there before every single game. You walk past, I'm like, I don't hear either of those dudes. All I hear is the picket line at the CN Tower because they're all on strike.
Really?
Like it was a holiday week.
Right.
Like tourists abound, and it's like, that's not for a failing, like it ain't what it used to be. Like I'll cop to this. I haven't taken my daughter's never been up to CN Tower.
What?
Have you guys gone?
Oh yeah, many times.
Okay, and I was like, the second it happened, I realized, man, I got to take Erin up to CN Tower. She doesn't like heights, but it's still something you got to experience if you're Canadian, or just if you come to Toronto, just experience it because it's kind of cool. You're not going to get me on the edge walk though.
No, hell no, I'm not doing
That's an absolute. Wait a minute, didn't Ramin say she was going to do the edge walk?
Yeah, she did, of course.
All right, so Ramin's going to do the edge walk at some point. I think that's crazy. I don't need that. I can go on a roller coaster all day. I don't need to jump out of an airplane. I don't need to do the edge walk. I don't need that kind of drama. There's other ways to experience that rush, and don't involve me hanging off the edge of a building.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty unique way to experience that.
It's cool.
Yeah,
To each their own, man. I'm not
really
hating. I'm just not doing it.
No, I don't want to do it either. No way. No way, no how. Not for me. My kids want to do it, of course, so we'll do that. Yeah, the Netflix, there's a documentary on Rob Ford, former mayor. So we watched that, the wife and I. That was pretty good. The stress of that was crazy.
Sad.
And now we have Olivia Chow, so it's all good over there. And then Doug Ford is the Premier of Ontario. So if you do watch that, go watch it. I think it's called City of Mayhem or something like that, the Toronto story. I used to have a little, I think it's broken now or it's gone. I used to have a squish thing of Rob Ford there. It was a really classic guy, man. Guy talked patois and everything. The guy's hilarious. But also battled drugs and stuff, so. That was a sad thing. All right, Oscar Health. We did see some up and down moves last week in UNH. Oscar right now, the name that I've said I've liked here, OSCR, I still do like it. So Oscar Health right now, just a name to look at. There it goes up now 4% today. Really bounced off nicely off $16. You know, if you wanted to get some sort of alternative health. I don't know enough about the healthcare space, but I do know that there's a lot of people here enjoy Oscar Health. So we'll have to wait to see where that's going. Up 3.75%. UNH, because I just talked about it, was battling with the so right back into 303 again. We did have a move up to 320 or so right there, the 50-period moving average, and then faded off of that. So nice move to the downside. What was the story last week, Adara, about UNH again? Oh, Centene. Yeah, Centene, so CNC. Yeah, that's right. They crushed all of their markets last week. It said 22 of 29 of their markets they're expecting lower lower revenues from. So there it goes. It's still making lows right now, Centene. So yeah, that's pretty ugly for right now, needless to say. So yeah, I just remember, man, I have this dentist appointment tonight. Yuck. It'll be fine, though. I think it's just a cleaning. Anyways, who's calling me here?
They have your dentist have the.
Oh, that's TELUS, I think. Oh yeah, they have everything there. No, it always shows the office. It always has the office on.
I find, yeah, I
can request whatever. Maybe I'll put that mayor show on.
That's sort of my beef. I never ask them to change.
Yeah, neither do I.
Which is just, it's like you should. Like I want to watch
there for
something
you.
else.
You can.
That's what I'm saying, but I never do. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like I know I can ask. But I just don't, and just sort of leave it on whatever. Like, what does the hygienist care what happens beyond? I'm the one sitting there watching.
No, they literally
don't care. But I've never asked. I've never asked every single. Dude, I was just hearing some news in my ear, but I didn't.
Possible deal for something about cars, automotive.
All I heard was cars and automotive in my ear. But I was going to mention Circle could go 10% up right now. Circle just broke high of the day. This is completely unrelated to any auto news that we may or may not have just heard in our ears. But Circle 9% up. And if you're wondering, RK, why is Circle going? This just seems a little technical to me. Like you had a bit of a pullback. The shorts got this pulled all the way back into that it didn't get to 160. This is actually 170. That's a bad wick. Let me go to the 15. Got to about $170 and then held the low, hold the low, consolidate, and then broke out today and was a good early long, then the second long, no good, but now you're breaking out the top. I think this has room to go to 225. Just remember how many people have been like, CoreWeave and Circle are going way down. There's a lot of shorts. There's a lot of shorts that are probably looking for a heck of a lot more than what this already fell and are probably trying to short pops. For for this to get back down underneath $100. And that and CoreWeave, I think, makes a lot of sense. That you could see some short covering, but you could also have some new shorts and day trade shorts that are getting blown out today as Circle puts its big boy shoes back on. For anyone that's still, a couple of people were asking about the Wolf. I put it in the chat. It's still 4.6 million to sell. Kind of expecting that number to be in the double digits. So if it's not growing, then I might bugger out of this one. But I want to see it continue to grow. It's now 325. 25 minutes until the imbalances actually come out, or just slightly under that. And you really, like, it's not moving, which is good. I'm going to scalp out into the volume weighted average price, and because it hasn't changed in about 10, 15 minutes, that imbalance, maybe this is all we're going to get. And 4.6 million, it needs to be over 10 million. The stock's done 400 million today. You got to at least be in the double digits to really be huge for a sell amount.
Yeah, it looks like right now Tesla wants to go higher here. So I don't know. We'll have to wait to see. Oh, there. EU sources saying EU looking at a possible deal. That's it. So deal on CORZ.
Okay.
To export. EU may secure. So this is what I was saying about EU versus China. Imagine if that headline was about China getting a deal for CORZ or tariffs with related to CORZ, right? You would be seeing like all hell probably break loose, and right now the futures are acting as if that headline doesn't even exist. But we'll wait to see what happens with EU. That's just a possible deal. Like we always say here, baseline tariff exemptions for aircraft. I don't know. Anyways, I was thinking about Tesla breaking right into there, maybe breaking the 294.50 area, but then you're running into some more issues there. I think it's going to be a long here on Tesla. It's just maybe trying to find those areas. The TQs, we did empty out a little bit of that, so we got pretty lucky there. Oops, that's still Tesla. Load up. There it is. So we got some more outs there in the low 50s. A couple outs there. Maybe put some more. We only have now a half hour left. I'll just put a bid there right now at 60s. See if we can get that, and then we'll wait to see what winds up happening. But right now, yeah, not much action at all in this market as we go sideways. Wait for tomorrow. I don't know if there's any. Adara sent me the recap notes there. I don't know if there's any. I didn't even click on them yet. Is there any news today? Weeble, no, just talking about Michael Noss posted something, I guess, on Weeble. So we can have a quick little look there. Maybe you guys will talk about that. Yeah, there it is, man. Nicely moved now. Up now. Weeble, not up on the day, but making moves higher.
That's what.
Right now, Weeble.
That's the thing. It's been bought up for most of the day. There's been buyers on Weeble, despite the fact that it's double digit down. And
yeah, I don't know what's going on with Weeble. Well, we do know they had that offer, right?
They had that offering, and that's what I wanted to mention. I'll get to Wolf in a quick little second. It was IonQ that, and we were sitting here, and if you weren't watching the morning show, if a company drops an offering and the reaction is a complete V-shape, like it goes up, V-shapes it all the way back in, maybe look for this double bounce and then try to sell it again, because I've never seen anything that was quite as obvious as that at the open. Like it's all in hindsight, but I wasn't watching the stock because we kind of wrote it off as, why is this stock up in the first place? And when it got all the way to the bottom, it's like, well, you had to short it the first time when the news came out. That was your chance. If you didn't do it, forget about it. And you just sort of write the stock off that you're not going to get a chance to sell the news, but then you could have sold the news at the open. And that's how I would have expected a stock to react. Keep in mind, it's going to have some strength today because, ultimately, when you have a here, just look at the trend. There's going to be some strength from a technical standpoint because it's been making higher lows, and it was in the midst of a little bit of a breakout. But yeah, that should have been a sell the news type of thing. And just going back over to the Wolf one, I was looking for a long initially on this, until we saw on our note that this is supposed to be deleted from the Russell 2000 today and has a sell and bounce. So the scalp into VWAP and then hold. It's about to tag. If it tags 220 or so, then we actually get the volume weighted average price on Wolf up 100% today. But remember, stock can go down as quickly as it goes up. Let's go to Adara.
Keep an eye here on, I have STLA up. You can just kind of keep an eye on the market and I guess any of these auto names. I'm seeing reports coming through here on X that apparently sources in the EU are saying that the European bloc is considering a possible deal on CORZ to offset these U.S. auto exports against these imports. They're also apparently looking to secure baseline tariff exemptions for aircraft and spirits as part of the U.S. trade deal. We know the EU has been very clear that they want to make a deal with the U.S. We haven't seen any tariff letter news with the EU as of yet, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. But either way, just keep an eye on this market. We're seeing, I guess, some potential inklings of a deal and certain terms of a deal here from the EU. Back to you.
SoFi.
Yeah, I mean, again, nothing. I mean, it's August 1st, right? I mean, we're just going to wait to see. I mean, hopefully we get something more definitive once that comes through again. So we're going to wait to see about that. I mean, today's big story, I guess, was just Tesla, and we're not really seeing too much reaction to anything there. Weeble, I said this morning, I think it's a buy opportunity. We actually indicated some levels of concern there for possible buy and whatnot. And yeah, that was, I don't know if it was ignored or not, but right there on Weeble, we sort of zoomed back out and found right where it is right now. When you're looking at that, if it's just an offering, like you got to think about the stock was actually been working. So it comes right back in, and some of these bottoms equate to sort of that gap fill right there on Weeble. So if you like sort of where we're going in finance and where everything looks right now, I would say you want to, you know, potentially get into some Weeble down here, down 11% today. Could be a decent buying opportunity right now for this name. You know, we could be right back up into $14, $15 before you know it. You know, a name like SoFi, you can look at Upstart, Affirm, some of these other names that continue to really work out, right? There goes SoFi right now. I mean, look at the highs that we're putting on right now. So, you know, another good look here for SoFi, possibly breaking out even into $20 again. Like this name, again, gapped through. We took out 1850 right there today. We've actually been hovering around that spot. Nice to see a definitive move today back above as SoFi continues to work. We're up quite a bit on this position just because of where it is. I mean, if anybody's been buying at all over the last 2 years, you know, this has been a huge move right there for SoFi. You know, we talked about names like Robinhood coming back in a little bit. The problem, honestly, I mean, Robinhood had that issue there where they released the offering for crypto, then they were talking about stabilized coins and whatnot for different stocks, and then unfortunately, not C3AI, OpenAI came out and was like, no, we're not supporting that. And we did have a nice move back in there a little bit. And it was only approved for EU trading and EU accounts and whatnot. So there's a few stories there last week about Robinhood. So we'll wait to see if anything does make sense here moving forward. But again, really like the stock. Just it's in a little bit of a sleeping zone right now. So for Robinhood, maybe $80 on a pullback, but that may not happen. AFRM. I'm just talking about some of these new payments, you know, Affirm, Upstart, new fintech names continue to work, and as does Affirm. Look at Affirm right now. It's like nice move higher right now for this name as well. So, you know, some good stocks trading around Affirm, getting into some areas as well, up near $74. Hasn't spent many days above 75. So we'll wait for a breakout. This could be tomorrow on Affirm, AFRM. So watch out for that break with a relatively short, I'm going to say 18. You have a guess?
I thought it was 22.
Could be
22.
Yeah, did you look it up?
No, I haven't. Like, my guess 22.
Yeah, well, I win.
What?
5%.
Remember back in the day when that was an actual short?
Well, that's why I said 18. I thought we were coming in right there, but a firm short float. That Upstart had a big one that was in the 30s.
You've gotten smarter.
PBYA, UPST is what we're looking for now. Yeah, 25, 26% right there for Upstart. And then, you know, a stock like a SoFi is going to be in that 5 or 6% range as well, I believe. Ooh, that's 13%. Robinhood as well. So there are short offerings, all this 4%. Let's just compare it to traditional. So we'll go over a JP Morgan right now. No short on that. C 1.73%. Wells Fargo. I thought Wells might be the biggest one, 1.7. Morgan could be big because if there's not too many deals coming through. Yeah, 1.2.
Morgan
so we don't have
makes
anything
sense.
over 1.
No, but like
over 2, sorry.
The difference between that 1.2 difference between Morgan and JPM is pretty significant. And like I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but those are two very large companies, and the difference is there's so much that was expected. I count me as one of the people that's in this camp. There's so much that was expected in terms of maybe alleviating some of the regulation when it comes to finance. In the U.S. and banking, and especially when it came to M&A, that just has not materialized. And so, you know, for Morgan, it's been kind of a big deal for them. And don't get me wrong, I think the stock is Stock's actually probably doing fine. I was going to talk about SoFi, but the stock, maybe not today, but the stock's been doing absolutely fine anyways, breaking out those tops. But some of what you were hoping to have happen hasn't actually happened for Morgan Stanley, yet you're still breaking out tops. That just goes to, again, it just goes to show you how resilient the market is. Like, look at how gorgeous that chart is. But if you weren't, like, I wasn't buying Morgan Stanley on dips. I liked XLF this year. That was probably a bit of a mistake. Like, I own Morgan Stanley. If I was buying Morgan Stanley, I'd done better than I would have in XLF, almost 100%. Because usually if you pick an individual, I don't actually know this to be true. So don't at me if I end up, you're only getting what, 20% if you got the absolute bottom. Whereas if you were buying Morgan Stanley, here you got 50, call it 50%. So that's sort of the notion of getting more out of buying individual names. But it cuts both ways. If you want to have a little bit less risk and more certainty, fair. That's how it's going to play out. We're going to go back over to my man and maybe talk about one of our friends. See if any scans.
Yeah, if you scan that QR code right there, you'll get eSignal for 1 month for free. Make sure you do scan the best trading software, charting software available. That is going to be eSignal. So it's 1 month free. Market data, everything you're looking for. With the rise of trading going 24 hours, it seems like that's where we're going. You want to be able to have reliable charting and also be able to chart every single market. eSignal does give you an array of tools, does connect over 50 plus brokers, does have all the scanners, all the data, 500 plus symbols. I mean, this is what we're talking about, whether or not you're coding things or what. Self-curated lists, you could base it on whatever sort of fundamentals you're looking at or technicals, even macro-related issues as well can be screened for. But also their own curated list. Like we look at the trade rates, some of the ones that are popping off volume-wise and whatnot. Makes a big difference to all the trading that I'm doing. So make sure you do subscribe to that. I've been with eSignal for 20 plus years, and it's been good. So we want to thank them for giving that 1 month free. That's all. So scan it, let us know how that software is, message us. We can send our layouts, whatever you guys want. I have it all up here on my top monitor that we look at. What we trade off of here are just our own in-house with real trading. The software that we have comes with charting. So that's where we can able to put on, all of our ins and all of our outs and whatnot as we continue to look at Tesla. It's 337 right now. So we are a little bit concerned about the imbalances today. Wolf is there. Neil talked about that. A Russell deletion.
It stopped growing though, which concerns me.
Yeah, TD still is a sell though.
Just quickly, got down to 220. I got some out. I reloaded and I punched out when it broke this 250. It should be growing. I want it double digits, and it grew and is now going sideways. So if you're trading, looking for a strong stock, which I was looking long originally, be a big sell imbalance, and it's not getting bigger, then I'll just wait till 250, sorry, 350 for actual confirmation. It's a gimmicky style play, right? To go against the grain. So I want to see it come out as a gigantic number. Or who cares? Michael DCA saying Wolf has no teeth.
Yeah, I mean, it is true.
I mean, look, what was the actual day of the bankruptcy? It doesn't really matter. This was beginning.
I mean, you're not claiming bankruptcy because your business is flourishing.
Yeah, and you're not bouncing 100%, and you're not bouncing 100% today, and more on Thursday it would have been because everything is in the clear. We've seen this happen before. Shorts cover, relief rally, dead cat bounce, whatever name you want to give it. As long as profits are taking, I think you should be okay. I would not be holding on to this one too long. But in so much as I'm expecting it to be a big deletion, that's just a day trade going into the close. Well, the other thing is Mullen's actually catching a bit of a bid, which is a little bit different for Mullen. It's from its usual, but it caught a bid off of exactly 20 cents, almost, but could not get past the opening low. So the opening range bottom was about 24 cents. That's now where the trailing stop goes. And then you're going to hold out for this 20-cent bottom once again. And go Bills, I'll get to your Palantir question because I don't want you to misunderstand me. I do know Palantir, the high is underneath 150. Mm-hmm. Like 150 is going to be a big level for the stock. So I didn't literally mean, it might not break. When I was talking about it, like this local breakout for tomorrow, like this resistance breakout, I don't know that move, it breaking, say, a 140 tomorrow is going to get it to an all-time high. And part of that is because I think there'll be profit takers going into 150. I understand that if it gets to 150, it has already made a high, but I think going into that level is going to be resistance. So that's what I was referencing. I know, yeah, I get it. It's like 148 something is the actual top, but I think going into $150, it's going to slow down a little bit. So if I'm looking long tomorrow on Palantir on a breakout play, I'm not thinking that move is going to the high because I think there'll be a bunch of sellers from 45 into the 50 level. And still, even if it just does what it did today, like how good was that? 3% in a down market? Imagine we were in an up market today. That's 5-6 points on Palantir. But we're not. We're down 1%. And we're not really screaming back to the upside as we speak. So as long as we're kind of bearish, you limit the expectations on how far you think the bullish move will go, at least in the names that are somewhat correlated to the market. Like risk on involves Palantir when we're talking about tech and we're talking about AI. So had we had a stronger day for tech, Palantir probably up 5 points. And I would think a breakout could take us to that 148, 149 in a couple of days.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Palantir gets there tomorrow probably. I mean, let's just wait to see.
Oh, it could easily.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, up another 3% tomorrow and you're there. But for right now, the market is just kind of figuring itself out. It looks like it wants to get lower. So right now, only 9 minutes until those imbalances come out. But we are still on the only position that we've had are the futures. And right now we are ticking down into 82.50. So that's going to be definitely a good look here. See if we can fade out the rest of the day. Okay, the tariffs will not stack, apparently. So you don't add 20% plus another 20%. So I guess that's what that means. I like to stack the lineup, but not tariffs. So yeah, good look there for anybody interested on that. What's going on with crypto today? I mean, let's have a quick look at crypto. So here we go. Hold on a second. I got to mute this one website before I do this. Mute site. Okay, so here it is right here. All right, so this is what's going on in the land of cryptoverse. As many of you hold different coins, either altcoins, the top 10, as we keep on talking about it. Is that the right price? Well, let me refresh this, make sure. Yeah, 108.2 right there for crypto, for BTC. The highest I saw this was 354. So we are off decently from the top on the overall market. But Ethereum, again, not doing too much. Is that the right price? 108.1. Yeah, okay, so these are the right. I just thought I looked at it this morning. It was 25.5. I think that's right. Tether, so XRP, Ripple's not doing too much today. Binance Coin, Solana this morning when we had Michael on was 151, so that's not doing anything either. Dogecoin was, 17. Cardano was 58, yeah. So there's not much going on right here in the space there today as I kind of scroll down. Look for the bigger winners. Stellar Lumens, I used to be an investor or a trader in that. We recently got out of that. That was actually a good one. We were able to make good money on Stellar. But after that, not much else. Looks like Ethereum, out of everything, will be the leader for the last 7 days. But over the last 24 hours, pretty quiet. So if we go over there now, just look at what we could trade here on the show. ETHA, what's up? Right there, 19 and change right now for ETHA. So
or Bit Digital.
Down, yeah, or BTBT. I would stay away from names like that. Like we've talked about that. What about SBET? These were the guys that were SharpLink here. These guys made I think it was a $250 million or so investment that they got to form a Ethereum trust, and that went ham, like real hard, all the way up to 120 there. And as if Ethereum was like $10,000 a coin or something, they already done it, I don't know. And then it just fell all the way back in. So this is what happens whenever stuff like this happens, hence Wolf Speed or BTBT or anything like that. All you should be really doing is looking for shorts, not the other way around. And there it is, breaking lower. And then that's where all the money is made. And, I've said this from day one, the market is completely rigged in so many ways. And here's just another example where, the little guys kind of get blown out as margin calls happen and you can't hold overnight or anything like that. But the bigger traders, of course, can. And as this falls back in, they just take all that money back. So whatever they might have lost initially shorting, they always seem to make it back. I mean, there's not that many names that go up in a straight line and stay up there. I mean, you could look at Coinbase, you could look at any of the big initial public offerings or SPAC turned whatever. They went crazy, hence Chamath. They went crazy for the beginning and then fell all the way back in. So I think
hedgies can hold for a year. You never can.
That's the other thing.
Retail never can.
There you go. And I was wondering,
we can't hold something 150% against you for like 6-7 months. But those guys can because they have so much money, and they know it's just going to win eventually. So they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So they keep pushing it down to make it hard for it to get back up. But a name that's been really getting beat up, obviously here, and as of their last filings, I looked it up. Apple's the top holding still of Berkshire. So this is as of their filings end of March 31st. Their number one holding still Apple, Bank of America, American Express, Coke, Chevron, Oxy. So as oil comes to the downside, I mean, Berkshire, the market's at all-time highs right now, right? And so this is where Berkshire is, and this is the day, of course, that Warren had left or moved away from Berkshire. So watch out for that. Kraft Heinz, Moody's, Citigroup, and DaVita Inc. So some banks, some insurance names there, goods like a Coke, and then Apple still downside as well. So here you go, KO. Although doing better than Pepsi, I thought Coke maybe just took out some highs, didn't it? No. So not doing too much. It's still hovering around. Yeah, we were almost, that's what I was talking about. We were almost breaking out right there on KO. Pepsi going the other way, KO winning.
Thinking about a stock being controlled.
Right now. Yeah, that one's really kept in. But Coke doesn't have much.
No,
I mean, again,
doesn't.
you wait for China, right? Wait for China. Like when those announcements are done, you're gonna wait for a Starbucks, a Coke, a Procter & Gamble, American Express, the other one here as well. I know that's the reason why you were selling some of your XLF because of the credit cards. And there goes AXP to the downside. But here they come to save the day. Remember, those of you that thought that these stable coins was the end of credit cards, what a mistake that was, as it's made its new highs again there for AXP. Now, I don't know what's going on with MasterCard or Visa, but just looking over there, I've always said AXP would be the one that I would want to be in. But even then, there's the drop down on some of Amazon's. Thing is, man, if I'm buying a stable coin, guess how I'm buying those? With my credit card. So 375 all the way down there, 340, and you don't keep these names down for long. Visa all the way back up. So I think Berkshire's could be a buy there for sure at some of those levels. Maybe I'll do some buying in the account for some Berkshire. But I don't know. I'm still debating going with a wealth advisor or not. So I don't know. I'm going to meet with another one this week. We'll figure out what's going on right there. But I've just been self-directing for a very, very long time.
So here's one of my beefs with XLF. AXP is 2.4%. Visa and MasterCard are 14. Whoops. I meant to show this on the screen that you guys could see. AXP, which is the strongest, is only 2.5%, whereas Visa and MasterCard are 14%.
Yeah.
And so I looked at it, and it's like JPM's 11 and Berkshire's 12. Like why wouldn't I could just own those. Like I had some Berkshire from a while ago, and I don't really own JPM. It's like I don't need XLF. I can just get the stocks that I like out of it. And I own some Morgan Stanley, but I didn't like the configuration there. It's like so the credit card company that I think is the best is the one that it holds by far the least of. So I don't know. Like sometimes it matters what's in the ETF to your own personal preferences. That's all I was getting. Like I still like the financials. But at the end of the day, like when I look at what's really working, I still think it's AI. Where someone in the chat was saying they love GEV as well. I think it's the AI type plays that are going to get you the bigger moves. That is almost breaking out the highs. Not usually a stock that we trade, but if this is breaking the high now, I think there's a bit of a play. Like Vistra is almost at the high, but then I looked over and Constellation is still, $30, 10% from its top? Why? Like I'm trying to think of the reason why a catch-up play about 10%, 320 is high. I mean, let's eyeball it here. That's it's 10%. About 10% from its high. When G Vernova's at the high and Vistra's pretty much breaking the high, this one seems like it's a good catch-up play. Just in an overall space. About 1 minute ago till the imbalances pop out, everybody. Wolf is still 4.6 to sell. TD Bank is an early look sell of 1.5 million. Nothing big. It'll be the big NASDAQ names that hit the board, and then we're looking potentially for Wolf to be a big one. And then tomorrow, we would expect to see Datadog might be a large one tomorrow as they're going into the S&P. Maybe you never know. Sometimes the day before too. Yeah, there should be some action there for sure. Okay, so I was just going to say I'm just getting out more here on the TQs. I mean, good trade overall. We had wound up losing on it initially,
But once we got up to the 200 period, I feel that was not a great one there, not just because of where it went, but because there was really no reason. I was just wondering if this continuation play was going to happen, and then we talked about it live, about maybe these tariffs aren't that big of a deal. And then they made the move higher, then they flushed again, we were able to take 20 cents. Then we averaged it right back into that level, then into the 50 period, then stopped out at the 50 period at the time was right here at 82.50. So that's our stop out. And then we reload, okay, now they're out. So there it goes. See, this is what I was saying. I was just saying about getting out of all of this. There's Wolf with a big sell. So it does come 7 million. SoFi with a sell, NVIDIA with a buy. So Nasdaq buy side for sure. There's Apple with a buy, NVIDIA with a buy, Amazon with a buy, and the TQs with the move higher. So yeah, no surprise. We didn't really talk about it. I'm in just a little bit less than half. Actually, about a third left of this position on the TQ, so we'll take a little piece out there as it breaks through the 200 period. But this is what's on sale right now, or what's for offer or sale, bids, anything for the market on closing. What this just shows you is,
SoFi's kind of big.
Yeah, SoFi, but didn't really move down. Still $19.20 there for SoFi. You do have earnings. Oh, the earnings aren't filled up. We have earnings for Nordstrom after hours, JW.
That's a little cheeky because
yeah, isn't they being bought?
didn't the deal close already?
It's gone.
Yeah, the deal,
so
the deal closed already. So I don't.
Yeah, so that's gonna be nothing. I just heard that in my ear. We have Nordstrom, so we're not worried too much about that. Chesapeake CHK is also out tonight as well. But again, I don't see that on here either. So I think a lot of these names are just no-brainers today. There's not much going on the after show, but you can join Adara and Neil as they'll go over everything today. And then I'm going to be debating what to watch, of course, now that Neil mentioned that, on The Dentist. So we'll be sitting there. I like watching The Office. I've seen all of The Office. Thing is, like, I don't normally watch things with subtitles. I think that's actually a good move. Watch everything with subtitles.
We've started doing it. My wife liked it, and then once I watch it with subtitles, I'm now used to it.
Right.
So I just kind of want them on.
Keeps you reading, and you miss things when you're not watching, like little words here and there that they've thrown in.
Well, I rewatch The Wire because I love The Wire while I'm working out every now and then. And sometimes The Wire's so good, like I'll stop and like re-observe a scene, and when the subtitles are on, I just feel like
you catch
I'm
little
absorbed.
things.
Yeah, like little things. It has so many great scenes in The Wire. Goodness,
I've been
probably
like
the
doing
best
more
show of all time.
The number one complaint for dentists for me is flossing. But I still floss every day, but they're saying you have to floss twice a day? I don't know. Is that true?
I don't floss twice a day. I floss once a day.
I floss in the evening.
How often do you guys floss?
In the evening.
Well, man,
I wake up and brush my teeth, then I brush my teeth before bed.
And
I do, but I don't know.
I floss in the evening too.
So I've been doing it more diligently, the once a day stuff. So I'm going to find out. I'll report back tomorrow.
You know what I like? I like
haven't had
watching like highlight packages. Let's just say I didn't watch.
Of people flossing?
I didn't watch sports. Like
sports.
I didn't catch all of like a game. Like I'll go into in the baseball and they'll have these little just watch some videos of okay, this pitcher had a good game. It's like 8, 9 o'clock, right? So I didn't get a chance to watch the game, and one of my guys in fantasy had a good start, so I'll just watch the 1 minute.
Flossing is a scam.
Something.
Wait a second, yeah.
Flossing's not a scam.
You know, you can use those water picks.
Not a scam.
People say the water picks are good.
Dude, as far as I'm
had
concerned,
braces.
cleaning anything, cleaning yourself in a general sense, it's not a scam. You can argue about how big of a deal it makes, but calling it a scam is ridiculous.
No, maybe to the importance of it might be the scam. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think it's a scam.
Well, they're scamming
I'm
me.
going to tell my dentist this. Who was that made that? I'm gonna tell him.
Where was it?
I'm going to tell him. Someone in the chat there. It doesn't matter who it was. There it is. Dick Tracy. What's up, Dick Tracy? I'm going to tell my dentist, who's a really cool guy.
Man.
By the way, I love dentist is right here. Great guy. So I'll talk to him. I'll say a guy on the show said flossing is a scam. I'm going to see what he says.
I'm not feeling that take.
No, I'm not either. But I'm going to tell him that anyways. I'm going to tell him I'm feeling it and see what he says. But anyways, there it goes, man. Yeah, there's the floss, or there's the pick itself. That has it's on it. It's like a toothpick, and it also has a little.
I've used that thing, but I prefer the regular floss.
Yeah.
And there's like a Solka brush. That thing.
Oh, you know what else he said that you should do?
Kind of weird.
Tongue scraper. Anybody use a tongue scraper out there?
I just clean my tongue.
My wife does.
I clean my tongue with my toothbrush, man.
Yeah, but there's a scraper.
I know they have a scraper, but I'm not buying that thing. Not that that's necessarily a thing.
Yeah, I got one and started using it for a little bit. I was like, I'm not using a tongue scraper. Yeah, just use your brush. And do you have I'm
electric now.
Electric? Yeah, I have electric. They say electric.
You can tell like I'm finishing each other's
They
sentences.
say electric is where you're supposed to be at.
Once you use it, it's kind of like you drive a Tesla now, you never go back. Once you use an electric toothbrush, I kind of feel like you just, whatever, I won't even.
Yeah, my car's done at 3:04 there, they said.
Which one, Andre? Oh, just
You have an ad to read, Neil.
very quickly, in about 10 seconds or so, if Wolf doesn't get bigger or shrinks, I'm just going to punch out of that. Do not want this shrinking to the downside, but
People love the scraper.
people like the scraper.
Go ahead with this. Yeah, I forgot what
Do
you
they though?
Yeah, people
don't know.
do. People do in the chat. Once you go scraper, you never go back? Go ahead, man. Go keep reading. Yeah,
No, we're
what
supposed
you
to
do.
be talking about Trade the Pool, everybody, because we got a behind-the-scenes look at Trade the Pool, and they're diving into the community side of Trade the Pool. You know, each trader gets his or her own hub, and inside it, you'll find Trade Talk, a powerful charting and analysis space. Traders can map out strategies, break down setups, share predictions with the community, and if you're looking for real-time interactive, the Trade the Pool Discord is where you go to visit. It's full of active traders sharing insights, trades, and tips to grow together. At Trade the Pool, you're not trading alone. You're joining a firm that invests in your growth, technically, mentally, and financially. Head to tradethepool.com or scan the QR code you see on the screen. And I see, and I'm in at 37, and I'm going to be out at 39, hopefully, is Wolf with 7 million, now only 4.3 million. I might just punch the 40s. Adara?
Just be aware here. Keep an eye on Broadcom, apparently announcing they've issued $6 billion in investment-grade bonds across 3 tranches, marking 2025's largest corporate bond sale so far. The 10-year note price 30 basis points tighter than the initial guidance, so apparently reflecting strong investor demand. Apparently, Broadcom's to be using these proceeds towards general corporate use and refinancing, and they're being supported by their apparently solid fundamentals, rising cash flow, and AI-driven data center growth. So Broadcom here with some $6 billion investment-grade bond announcement. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Adara. The TQ's upside move here. I'm just going to actually punch out right now because we didn't get too much of a reversal. My stop was right here anyways, breaking through 83, so we'll just punch out there. Good trade, made some money back there on at the end of the day. Wolf, as Neil was mentioning there, it was supposed to be a bigger imbalance.
Much
so, yeah, maybe nothing happening right now. Wait to see. It's only done 428 million shares. Of course, I say only sarcastically there because that's a big number for Wolf. So, yeah, well outsized its daily average move. But there it goes. Yeah, no, yeah, I guess the tongue scraper is a thing, as many people in the chat there supporting that. So shout out to those of you scraping your tongue, because it seems like that is something definitely to do. With only 2.5 minutes left right now, we can continue to watch that. We could see where Tesla ends the day again, looking for a 300 break maybe tomorrow. Not much going on this afternoon for Tesla. It does get right back into its highs of 296. I shouldn't say not much going on. It does get back there. So a potential play there for Tesla right now. But yeah, that would have been a good short. Other than that, yeah, not much going on, man. We'll end the day green, so that's good. So we're happy for that, but not much else going on. Like if this TQs would have really made a move down, that could have started off the day. What the trading was all about this morning for me, just boom, boom, right there on that. AMD as well, boom. I mean, huge trade there on advanced micro devices. Flat, completely flat on Apple. Today we were long and then we lost our last try there. We'll be down a little bit on Robinhood. We did try that break and then tried it again right into here into 94, 95. That did not work. And then down, you just saw me trade the TQs. And this is down as well, but not much. Same on the TQs as we are on Robinhood. So number one stock for me today is Tesla, followed by AMD and then Amazon. And then the 3 losers, Robinhood, the TQs, and Apple. But all those 3 don't add up, obviously. As I told you, still green. So yeah, good day overall there. We'll look to make some more trades tomorrow. It should be a good one. Yeah, so you're almost going over the desk. It'll be Neil and Adara tonight.
By the way, Circle just hit 10%. So it did get to 10% to the upside. The shorts are getting squoze on this one. There's no question about it. You can talk all you want about fundamentally what Circle and CoreWeave are worth or what they're not worth, but the price doesn't lie, and the shorts are losing control once again, which they have been out of control for quite some time. I'm going to head on up to the desk. We have Michael Noss coming. Maybe we'll talk a little bit of
coins of farting.
Fart coin and the Penguin, whatever the heck it is, as well.
Penguin Dynasty.
But at the end of the day, if it's trending, it's trending. Pengu.
Okay, I know, Pudgy Penguins.
Pudgy Penguin, that's what it is.
What it was. Okay, 30 seconds until the U.S. market closes. Thanks, Neil. We do no longer have the countdown button working, so we'll be hitting this live for you right now as we get going now with only 20 seconds left. Adara's coming over to the screen. We want to thank everybody for joining us one more time today. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and be part of this community. The only way to be part of the chat is by hitting the subscribe button. So now with only 10 seconds left, we get ready to celebrate good times here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. There we go. We are now done. It is 4 p.m. Thank you so much, everybody, once again. Look, the market recap show is going to be a good one. There's just not a whole heck of a lot going on right now as far as earnings are related to, but they're going to talk everything about U.S. dollar, oil, and whatnot. We didn't get too much of a look on that. We talked a little bit about gold today. Bitcoin ends the day at 108 flat, so there's not much going on there either. Tesla, Wolf. Let's just check in to see what Wolf wound up doing there at the end, because we were looking for some kind of an imbalance. It does print quite large. It looks like almost 9 million shares there at the close, printing down to 220. So a level there, 220 and change for Wolf. So we could definitely take a look back at WOLF, Wolf, right there coming back in now, up only 95%. So yeah, good day overall. I think it was a good day for everybody here. So hopefully it was a good day for you guys as well. It's now 4 o'clock. I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna go tell the dentist about that scam and see if he tells me if I should be continuously flossing or not. Update if anybody cares about cavities and whatnot tomorrow. So I'll give you guys a good update. I gotta get out of here. For me, for Andre, for everybody else around here, I'm Shaw. That's Neil. That's Adair. You're going to them right now.
So thank you very much, Sean, and enjoy, or maybe not enjoy the dentist. I have no idea. But like, you can't call flossing a scam, everybody. Not everything is a scam. You can make some arguments about a lot of things, but I don't know. I think that's taking it too far. But it wouldn't be taking it too far to say that Tesla had a really bad day today, Adara. If you're looking for catalysts and stories, and if you're only tuning in now and somehow you missed it over the weekend, or maybe you weren't paying attention during the day, or who knows, maybe you just woke up and you're like, why is Tesla down 7%? Well, Elon wants to go back into politics by starting his own and new political party, kind of targeting a few states. That's the plan of action. Predictably, Tesla down 7%. It wasn't bad the entirety of the day for Tesla, but into a day where the market was down a point, this down 7 points, not looking very good for Tesla. That was the major story overnight. Of course, there was also a lot of tariff talk during the day, in the morning, overnight, with if you're aligned with the BRICS, we're going to slap more tariffs on you. And then we got some announcements in the afternoon with regards to updates on some reciprocal tariffs. So that's still moving the market.
Yeah, we are theoretically expecting 7 more tariff letters to be released today on Truth Social, according to Caroline Levitt. She was asked, are we getting different countries today? She said there's going to be 12 more in addition to Japan and South Korea, but she would not say which ones, just said, watch Truth Social. Now, you might be asking, why are they posting this on Truth Social? Caroline Levitt said it's about transparency. I also want to mention here, this is the cover from an X post series I did a while ago when they first had their falling out here, Elon and Trump. It was 2 pages, but now that this beef has intensified with Elon Musk here being called a train wreck by Donald Trump, and then, of course, Trump, saying that maybe he could deport Elon. We have to update this infographic. I was working on that this afternoon, so expect an update to this coming through tomorrow. But basically what I do is, this is just the cover page because I think they're fun, but what I do is you take the daily chart here for Tesla, and then you insert all of the chaos, the stories between these two. But on the real, Neil, the other thing that's pretty interesting here with regards to, I guess, Tesla is I was reading apparently short sellers were poised to net over $1 billion in profits as of the open, like where Tesla opened, right? I mean, we fluctuated throughout the day. So basically, long story short is if you were a short seller on Tesla coming into the session, I think you did pretty well. Just based on, again, the metrics that I was seeing, that's according to Ortex, that was their measurements. So yeah, I mean, nice little look here for TSLA. Again, if you were short, if you were long, it was less of a nice look. If you were long Circle, though, I think it was a pretty fantastic play. And I mean, it really waffled. It took its sweet time to give you that decisive push to the upside. But I mean, if you're drawing a trend line, you've got what? This 186 low, then you've got higher low 194, higher low 198, higher low 201, 204. So it's still making higher lows. Like for me, approaching this tomorrow, I'm only going to be focusing on the higher lows because I feel like there are little, intermittent shorts, but I think they're not as enticing, maybe not as clean of a trade as this long has been longer term.
The other thing you got to consider, because like ultimately, let's call a spade, to steal a term from Sharif, circles a squeeze play, right? And if you're looking at something which is mostly moving on the basis of shorts and new shorts getting out and just a pure momentum style play, the other way to look at it is kind of look at some places where short sellers and sellers in general are in control. And you could see that happen when it broke away from it was a good early break, and the secondary break got to 205. But then if you just look at after this 205 pullback, look at the selling in here at about 203 change. Sellers in control at that price for the entirety, and then really falling apart here a little bit like at 2 o'clock or so. But then late in the session, you see it clean break away from that price right in here. That's an entry for a long. And even when it dips back in to that prior high, like that's the sellers in control. And when you're looking at something which is more of a, hey, you're looking to win because shorts are losing and not much else. Those can give you not having to buy the dip, not having to worry about the trend. Just wait to see a big obvious price level where people are selling the stock or somebody is in control selling the stock, and then wait for that guy to get broken or wait for that level to get broken out. When you confirm that it is, enter into a secondary long. That's what I'm going to look for tomorrow on Circle. Bit of a different story here for CoreWeave, the other recent IPO that was going ham, and mostly because CoreWeave buying CORV in an all-stock deal. So if you looked at not CORV, CORZ, Neil, CORZ, Core Scientific. CORZ being bought, 100% stock deal. It's interesting that CORZ dropped 18% on this. Part of the reason why, and it's all speculation, this was rumored that they were potentially buying CORZ previously, and you can see the stock jump on that. Maybe the fact that it's an all-stock deal with no cash component, and therefore if you're waiting for this to close and getting your allocation of CoreWeave shares, now you get the risk of CoreWeave falling apart in 6 months or a year whenever this deal does close, and that's why Core Scientific got sold off. So maybe not the deal terms you'd be looking for. I think if there'd been more cash in this, it would look a little bit better. But Core Scientific, yeah, it's a disappointing result for anybody that got in, because part of the value, like you're looking for that essential spike, but when it already runs up this much on deal speculation, you're talking 20, 30, 40%, and your compensation ends up being, oh, when the deal closes, we get 1/8 in CoreWeave, a stock that everyone says is overvalued by a lot. Yikes. That's going to cause anybody that bought short-term to say, well, I don't know if I want to hold that for 6 to 8 months and effectively hold CoreWeave. If you really think that's going to happen, why wouldn't you just be an option? Anyways, it doesn't really matter. I just think it's going to, a lot of selling happen in Core because of that, which makes some sense to me that Cores went down. Maybe wasn't expecting 18%. I usually would say when a stock gets punished as the acquirer, it can be a buying opportunity. I'm not thinking that in this case, because I usually believe that of like a fundamentally sound company, which has long-standing valuation metrics and been making money for a long time, and then just has a technical sell-off because they're buying another company for a big sum, and then it gets sold off for a little bit, and then you can buy the value. I don't know if that's going to be the case with CoreWeave because of how far it's gone.
I just want to mention here with CoreWeave as well, analysts are not like crazy bullish on this name. I want to clarify, closed around 160, but this afternoon, D.A. Davidson came out here with an underperform rating and a jaw-dropping $36 price target. So again, 160 versus 36. Basically, they said that this deal with Core Scientific is more financial engineering, and it just is going to add losses and negative free cash flow. They also expect the shares to decline as the IPO lockup period nears its expiry. I looked up the expiration date for this. It's going to be September 24th, 2025, so just in a couple of months here. Basically, D.A. Davidson only sees the stock going lower. We know the valuation on this is a little bit cuckoo, or as it has been described as so by a lot of people. Today, the stock was trading pretty jaggedly, for lack of better terms, slice up, slice down, slice up, slice down, slice sideways. So I just thought that analyst note was really interesting, and I wanted to touch on it. It kind of came in the middle of the day, which is why I didn't get to do so earlier. But interesting note here from, I guess, D.A. Davidson on a stock that I think is on a lot of people's minds. Clearly, they view it as overvalued alongside, it seems like, a lot of market participants.
Yeah, when I see that $36, why didn't, you know what? Just put it underneath the low. Like when the all-time low here, like what we've got down underneath 36, like 33 something is the bottom. So if you think that, just for my own sake, just say 33. Or just say something underneath the low. Don't be like, oh, just find like the highest close that it had, and we'll just slap that number in there, 36. But they're not alone. A lot of people think this is overrated. I think that's why, and maybe if that's one thing I sniff at, you sniff it out a little bit sooner, and I think that could have been a really easy short in CORZ. But ultimately, that's something that you look at in hindsight. Not all deals are the same. If you ever end up trading something or looking at something where, oh, I see a deal, company X is supposed to be bought at $12, is trading at 10. Try to understand that the terms of any of those deals matter. Like if you looked at US Steel, what's the probability the deal will close? If you looked at Activision, it was a long time that was trading 20, 30% underneath the deal price because people didn't think the deal was going to close. If you have an edge, realizing that it might, then there's some money to be made there. But when it's an all-stock deal, in a general sense, most of the time, they're just going to trade one-to-one. But the nature of CoreWeave being a squeeze stock so high up here makes the long-term risk of it, the long, so big that you will see CORZ to the downside. I know we're going to have our good friend Michael Noss coming in just a quick little second. Before we get to that, I did want to have a quick little jump to look at something which I didn't get a chance to talk about at any point today. I don't know if we'll mention the IWM with Michael, but when looking at things playing catch up, what's interesting is this pullback, 1.5% down in the IWM, and the Nasdaq didn't have a good day either. Overall markets were pulling back, but this now has a chance to pull back into a significant level. Prior high, 215, 216, the 50-period moving average. Look at the significance of that level here, 215, 216. On the Russell. A lot of times when the overall market's making all-time highs and you're slowing down, you got to ask yourself, where are the places that we can go to for a little bit of catch-up? This does seem like a place that has a chance to go. I was noticing on that pullback, you didn't get all the way back into that prior support. But yeah, there's a long way to go till you get to those highs, and there's a good space to play a little bit of catch-up in. As I know our good friend, the Noss boss, is prone to do, maybe I will stump him and get his thoughts on something he's not prepared to talk about as we jump to a little bit of trader talk. Hey, oh, there he is, our good friend Michael Noss. Look, Michael, we had you on this morning, and we all got a kick out of what were some great trading opportunities, but talking a little bit about the crypto space and some of the meme coins here. So I know we can discuss that a bit, but I am going to try to get your thoughts on a few other things as well. But how did the day treat you, first off?
It was good. I didn't pull the trigger on any meme coins, but I got a couple good trades out there in names like Weeble, so we'll just wait. Maybe the meme coins will set up for me a little later.
Can I ask you your thoughts? Because actually both, I bought at 10.5 on Weeble. A couple of days later, Sean bought on Weeble, and I was just like, I'm buying. When it was at $70, I'm like, if it gets back down and bounces off 10, I'm buying it at that price on a pure spec play. Just as an obvious rounded bottom level, if it shows me that at an obvious level, I'm taking a shot. What's your take on Bull here? Like, what are your? We had the offering, so obviously, like, it did a 50% move off the lows, and then is pulling back today. What's your trade?
Yeah, so this is just a pure systems trade that we have over at Stats Edge, and essentially the long and short of it is it's looking for outsized weekly candles like this, like a weekly candle that's way bigger than normal, way bigger than anything, even if you're just looking from open to close, bigger than it was when things were going crazy here. It was up to $80. If you just look at the open versus close, this is the biggest percent candle that this name's ever had from open to close. So what we did is we're just looking for a pullback into that range. So I didn't even know really about the news. It's just this purple line right here was kind of put when I ran my numbers on the weekend when I was sending this to members of Stats Edge. You could see that area right there. So I like that it held in the morning, and that's what I was looking for. So this is just a 2-minute chart. But in the morning when it started to do kind of this shenanigans and it got back above VWAP, for me, that's where I pulled the trigger. So this is a 1 week kind of swing scalp for us. So we're going to be in, we're going to be out a week later. And this one has about a 58 or so % accuracy over the long run. So it's a nice little trade. For me, I've just highlighted this zone right here. And as long as we stay outside of that on a closing basis, I really like Weeble here. I think with the strength in Robinhood, if this does even 1/10 of what Robinhood did in terms of trend, I think it would be a great little runner.
Well, napkin math tells me you're getting 2 to 1. Just kind of looking at the that entry zone there, holding underneath that 12, and where it looks like you bought. Napkin math tells me you got like a 2 to 1 in there, even if it does a small move. But to your point, another thing to like about it is, well, the fintech space was hot. Like, SoFi, Robinhood, all supremely strong stocks in here today for sure. So I think you got some good dip buys. What was crazy about that is we day trade. Those are good day trading entries there. Like I was like, oh my goodness, Michael, you got some good bottoms in there on an intraday chart. You could have just, it's like buy those levels, sell the high of the day twice. So it kind of worked on both levels for you. Just out of my curiosity, you're 100% systems trade in there, and you just mentioned this is a system hold for a week. But are you auto hold for a week, or is there like it could hit a target and that target gets hit tomorrow and you're out? Because I know usually that would be the case for a technical trade.
Yeah, and all the testing that I've done anyway, and this is obviously subject to change, because one of the things about being a systematic trader and kind of a quantitative trader is that if you show me the evidence, I'll change my mind. But for everything that I've done and everything for the swing algorithms, we have investment algorithms that are a little longer term, and we have day trading algorithms at Stats Edge. But for the swing trading ones, I found a time stop works the best, as opposed to potentially limiting a trade by putting a stop loss on it. There doesn't seem to be enough time to really implement a trailing stop if you're looking to hold something for a week or two. So what I've done is when I built these systems, I went and tested them with a stop loss and profit targets and tried trailing stops. But when I said, okay, let's just hold it for a week and see what happens, and then let's hold it for 2 and see what happens, it seems like that's about the middle ground, is about 1 to 2 week hold. And what I like about that is you get an exit, which allows you to roll over your money fairly frequently, which is what we're trying to do if we have edge on the market. We want to roll over our account as frequently as I can. But at the same time, we also give it enough room, so there's no target on it. So in theory, if Weeble tomorrow goes to $20 or something like that, we'll still be in. So yeah, it's a time stop, and it's Monday morning is generally we sell everything that we're not absolutely in love with, and then we wait through the next week for more triggers to happen.
Which is so important. That's why I asked the question, because we're going to have viewers that range from maybe your day traders like myself, or your swing trading on technicals like yourself, or maybe you're looking at fundamentals, maybe you're investing, maybe you're a mix of all of those things. But whatever trade, investment, swing, whatever it is, what is your plan of action? What is the reason why you're right? What is the reason why you're wrong? So anytime someone comes on here, or you come on, I know we don't have trouble getting that out of you. I'm not singling anything out, but there's other shows and programs out there where you'll just I'm bullish on this stock. I think it's gonna go up. Right. I like the buy zone at this price. Like, okay, the whole what, for a year, forever? Where would you get out? Like, and you get out where? Like, it's just every time I hear stuff like that, it just it's weird to my mind, because you're not really telling anybody something. You're just kind of saying, like, I like that stock at that price. It's like, look, would you buy it there for the long term and hold it forever? Or would you buy it there and hold it for a week and have some kind of an out?
Well, and I would even, just to go with that, I'd even go one step further and say the stock that you like and the entry point is probably the least important part of the whole thing, right? Position sizing, risk management, exit parameters, like that's going to make you could get an entry strategy that's amazing, and if all of that other stuff is bad, your strategy is going to lose money, and vice versa. You could almost buy stocks randomly, but if you are very good at managing the trade when you're in it, and getting out at certain areas and managing your risk and understanding what's happening, I think you could almost get random selections for entries and still do okay. So yeah, I totally agree. I think all that other stuff around the trade is way more important.
Well, and to that point, and before we move on to the next topic, I will say there was a a mentor of mine and a trader on our floor years ago, now works with the Algo group. One of the things that he would do when training trainees was he would punch you, punching you into a position. You don't know what it is. This is the position. Trade it. And the object of that exercise was to work on, okay, well, I've got how much, my shutdown is this much, I can't lose more than this is what the range of the stock, to start making a bunch of decisions that have nothing to do with whether you actually wanted or liked the thing, just what is in front of you and the information you have, and what is the best way to manage it. So you don't have any of your internal biases, ideally, because it wasn't your position. You're just kind of making those determinations as to how to manage it and where your out should be and where your take profits and all that kind of thing. And then judging. Sometimes he'd punch in, and the smartest move, I know this is something that I did, he'd be like, why'd you just get out flat? That worked for you. Well, I said, well, yeah, it's not that I didn't like it, but I was punching it too much at that price level. My risk was down to here. I needed to have half the position in order for that to work. You punched me into too much. And that could be the decision. So I absolutely love that. I think it's dead on. That's why I wanted to intercede for a second. But we got to go circle back, if we can, to some of the crypto names. You said nothing really piqued your interest here today. I know there's a couple of people that have asked about like some of the meme stocks or meme coins, or I should say not meme stocks. But overall, there wasn't as much strength in crypto as I was expecting today. I never got into any longs in Bitcoin myself that I was looking to catch. It just never really set up. So how is that looking for you? Like you said, you didn't end up taking anything. What's kind of the next move? Because I know we didn't really see anything set up today the way that I would have liked. I know for myself.
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with, I think, Bitcoin 110, right? I've got some fancy drawings on here, but I'll change that. But we need to see Bitcoin over this. You can see, other than this one little kind of pop we did above 110 here, every time we've hit 110, there's been some aggressive selling right here at Bitcoin. So I look at, if you're going to trade Pepe or Dog with Hat or whatever, all these different coins, they're going to move whether or not people are bullish on crypto as a whole. And, to see people bullish or bearish on crypto as a whole, I think it's important just to look at Bitcoin. So part of my synopsis for trading this was that Bitcoin looks like it's getting ready to maybe break this 110. And if that does that, then you think Solana is probably going to get dragged up with it. I really like this 125 on Solana that is holding. So then with that, if you grab some of these other coins, they look, they're putting in this kind of cup and handle look. And part of a cup and handle is you had a downtrend that has turned into an uptrend. And then now you have some sort of a pullback, and that pullback is just pulling back into this channel. So I need to see a break of this channel. So I think it all happens at once. I think you get the Bitcoin that breaks 110. That has a little bit of a move at Solana, that it tries to challenge those old highs. And then maybe you get the meme coin pushes. So just like, I could be bullish a stock, but if the overall market isn't participating, then my bullish stock trade probably isn't going to work. I think it's the same thing in this crypto space. For me to get involved in crypto or any of these coins, I need that Bitcoin breakout. And it looked for a second today that we were going to have that. If we just go to, maybe, an hourly chart, we looked like we were coming back up and challenging that 110. And then we've just kind of been bleeding ever since. So something needs to shore in. It feels like there's maybe a really big seller at this 110 area, or somebody shorting a lot. But whoever this is needs to get out of our way. And then if Bitcoin can break, then I think the rest of them go with it.
Well, the good sign about that, Michael, is when we're failing that 110, we're no longer pulling into the 90s. We bounced off 100 on the last major dip, which is a good higher low into the break. So I am bullish, a little bit more bullish at these levels. Because of that, I'm still like I'm only a buyer in the 70s and then those 90s. I haven't really adjusted in terms of where I'll buy this quarter, because I usually just buy Bitcoin once a quarter. But we do have a question. Dara's got a question for you, so I want to throw you to her just for a minute here.
Hi, Michael. Hi. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here with us today. We talked a little bit about XLF and some of these banking names. Of course, banks are going to kick off the earnings season next week. I think they start reporting, oddly enough, Tuesday morning. So just about roughly I guess, a week from now. So once those earnings come in, we're going to see a lot of tech names. Netflix is the first name reporting. We also have some of these other Mag 7 names coming, of course, in the coming weeks. So with that in mind, I know you're not necessarily going to be a catalyst-driven trader, but how do you feel about some of these charts? I guess Netflix and Meta in particular, they're probably closest to their all-time highs.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for is exactly that, is give me a stock that is under and basing under, just like Meta is here, I just brought it up, under all-time highs. That to me is very interesting. I know Netflix, I was a holder. I actually got out at the beginning of this month. But this one has been just cruising through all-time highs as kind of a, I guess, tariff-resistant stock. But with Meta basing under all-time highs, I like this as well. And I think that's where you go. You don't really look right now at stocks that are at lows. You look for the ones that are making the all-time highs first. And funny enough, that was the banks. So you mentioned the banks. Like JP Morgan, I think, was one of the first names in the S&P 500 to hit an all-time high. We have Goldman Sachs pushing as well. I think a lot is actually kind of being banked here on these bank earnings, pun intended, I guess, and simply because the banks, they're not the funnest thing to talk about because they're not building AI or doing anything crazy like that. But they are absolutely very important to the overall economy because if the banks are under pressure, they're not going to lend money, and the lending of money is not going to go well for the people who are starting businesses. And this has got to be one of the best environments for a bank right now. The regulations getting rolled back, and they're able to do more and play more games and all of that. So if they're not reflecting that in their earnings, I think that could bode a little bit poorly for the market. But the fact that we have XLF at new highs, we talked about Robinhood and some of these other fintech names breaking out. I'm very encouraged for bank earnings. I more, not because I think they'll be up or down, but I think it's going to be way more important this year than it is in most years to see these banks, say positive things on their calls about what they expect in the future because of this more lax regulatory environment they're going to be in.
I love that answer. And I'm going to make one note on the banks. You mentioned XLF. I'm starting to look a little bit more at IYR. Like XLF holds a bunch of Visa and MasterCard, which have been, I think, holding it back a little bit. I think if you don't love those two, you can get a little bit more of like a pure banking play. And we've been talking about ETFs a little bit here, as it's a place where people like to go to invest. And I think it's so easy to get lazy and be like, oh, this is the ETF that does the most volume. This is the sector. Just go buy that one. But every now and then, I'll look back and wait a minute, I don't like this one. There's a couple of names in here that I just don't like as companies, so why wouldn't I buy the ETF that doesn't hold as much? So I think you always want to look under the hood for that long term, but I 100% agree with you on go and buy the strength where you can. And I think the earnings are going to matter. I know for yourself, you like to see those leaders. You like to go to where the strength has been and in those strong stocks. But I just want to maybe get some final thoughts, because I want to circle back to maybe something kind of related, but maybe not 100%. We were just talking about Weeble, and now we're talking about the banks. Robinhood is an example of a stock. Okay, well, it's breaking out and making some fresh all-time highs. It is, like, the run-up on this it's over 3x from some of those lows. This is one of, like, to me, it's a befuddling stock because, like, I own SoFi, and SoFi has been great for me, but I lament not being in Robinhood instead. And I find these are the trickiest names to try to get into. So Robinhood, super strong. What would you do to buy into this stock, or would you just not even touch it after a move like this?
Well, full disclosure, I'm in Robinhood, so going to be talking my book here. But I love the company just as a whole. And again, I'm not a big company guy, but I just like the fact that they seem to be everywhere. They seem to be growing. Earnings reports just on the bottom here, you can see each of these green up arrows is when they beat earnings, and then a red down arrow is when they missed. They seem to be beating earnings a lot, especially since they've been at the bottom. So I played this cup and handle play. So I'm in from around $50 here. Now, what I would look at is not a pullback to all-time highs, because technically that's right here. I would actually just look for a pullback into this 66.80, because that was the prior close on this candle when it IPO'd around 66. You know, these are obviously zones, not levels, but we struggled there again and we struggled there again. Until then, I'm just kind of hands off. I'm using kind of Weeble, I guess, as my proxy.
Right.
Another one that I think is going to move with it that I'm interested in, I'm in some here already, you can see my trade drawn out, but is against this all-time highs and has hit there twice, is Coinbase. So I think Coinbase and Robinhood, I know Coinbase doesn't do anything with traditional finance, it's just crypto, but these charts look similar because I believe that they're going to move together. Robinhood is priced partly because of crypto as well. But anything like we talked about, anything that's basing below all-time highs like this, I really like. I think Coinbase is a proxy for that. But yeah, when it comes to Robinhood, it seems like everybody in the world is waiting for a pullback in Robinhood, which probably means we're not going to get it for a while, but it's just too extended here. And that's kind of a theme, I think, for the overall market. I'm very bullish the market over the long run, but in the short run, we are really overextended, need some sort of a rest or a pullback or something.
Which is healthy, and I like that Coin is a proxy. If you don't like Robinhood here, Coin could just break out and play a little bit of catch up in the same space, and that chart looks absolutely gorgeous. See, ask you a question, put you on the spot. A, you own Hood, congratulations. I don't. B, Coinbase, we should all be looking at. At least I own that one. That's doing pretty well. But Michael Noss, can't wait to talk to you again at the end of the week for sure. Great insights as always. Best of luck trading the rest of the week. Thank you for coming through.
Thanks for having me. I always love it.
I love that music. Just like there's something very calming and awesome about the Trade Talk music. There's also something awesome about Michael's approach, right? Like it's so very, you talk about that Robinhood. I wouldn't chase it. This is what I'm looking for. Going off technicals makes it so simple for a trading strategy because it becomes, when you have a system, it becomes very binary. If it's not setting up, you don't do it. It's your target, you take it. It's your stop, you're out. That's what I love about talking to Michael. It's always in the language that I understand very well. The language that we should all understand, I think, is let's appreciate, A, that this is the best trading community out there. B, that you're the best viewers out there. C, that Adair is about to do roll call up in this. More tariff news. Oh, no. No, we're going to do roll call.
It's going to be 25%, only 25%, as Trump puts it. I need to see, I have to compare this. Give me a second to compare Tunisia's tariff rate here. But yeah, I mean, I could do roll call first. Sorry to cut you off there, Neil.
It's all good. Tariffs matter.
Yeah, they do. And guys, in case you missed it today, I already made an infographic about all of these tariff rates. And honestly, I am committed to continuing to do these every day that we get more letters. I'm going to make new ones and not add on to the existing ones because that's a little too cray-cray. But it really didn't take me that long. So if you guys if you have any infographics you want, just take me here in the chat. I will try my best to see it. There's a lot of ideas I have, so I'll try to get to them when I can. Turn the White House Wi-Fi off, says Mr. Henry L. Thank you to Michael Noss, CMT. Thank you, Michael Noss, for everything you do. Heart in the chat there. Shout out to you. Dinkelberg, Jacques, Rob's Weather and News Channel, Jeffrey69. We've got Uniworld Tech, we have Neil Roberts, we have Darth Trader. Oh, nice. I'm just watching the Star Wars movies now for the first time. Shout out to that. 420 Bud Monster, great name there. Mike Peter Ryder, we've got Currency, Brian, Ian Respetto, JG, Dubs Dollars, Jake Roberts, Snake Never, Always Ever, Andrew Chow, DJ 2AM, TH going west soon, Michael DCA, Donkey Trader, Jimmy Joe Smith, and Havana Woody. We're also going to take the time to thank Neil, Sean, Sharif, Joe, Brendan. Shout out to Brendan on vacation. We also have Fabian, we have Ramin, we have Andre, and we have shout out to Obi as well, covering there. Oh boy, thank you to David Treziak with a $50.
Boom!
Keep learning, friends. Risk and resilience. I mean, that hits really hard. So thank you very much to David for your always very supportive here in the chat, and that $50 super chat is much appreciated.
Thank you so much, Dave. We do have to get out of here, but I have to. I'm glad you're watching Star Wars for the first time.
It's fun. Yeah.
I'm glad you are. I can't believe you've never seen it.
Yeah.
What I would suggest is, I don't know how you're doing it, just watch them in the order intended. I think is the best way to absorb it. Not do it chronologically in story, but just do it.
I'm on number 6/number 3. Theatrical.
Yeah.
So 1983.
Yeah, so your Return of the Jedi.
I'm doing it properly. Yeah.
That's the way you should go.
Yeah.
I think you're going to absolutely enjoy it.
It's fun so far. I like it.
I'm a big fan of Star Wars. I'm just throwing that out there. Everyone already knows it. It's a trap. They did him wrong, man. I'm telling you, you can't Oh, shoot, my bad.
I mean, I just met him, so I just met the man. He hasn't said it yet.
He's a legend. Admiral Akbar, everybody, and like I have a problem with spoilers. I'm just that kind of a person. Hopefully that didn't spoil anything yet. It was so many movies away. Don't even worry about it, Adara. Hey, look, there's a fun opening week to the market. Tesla might be down, but you had an opportunity to go short, and the overall market might have been weak, but there were lots of kernels of strength. Circle was an example of that. Robinhood, lots of names were super strong. We'll look for the best ones tomorrow. We'll be right back at 8:30 tomorrow morning, your source for everything that's going on in the markets. We're Trader TV Live. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.